Yo, yo, what up, fools? Today is 4/23/2023. It is 10:35 p.m. Eastern Time.
Glancing.
We're going to go on the Dog and Chicken show in a little bit, talk to them. I'm not really sure what about, but we'll probably get into Hunter Biden, though. I love getting into Hunter Biden. That is my favorite topic ever. It's like just the easiest W every time. I love getting into it. I love it. What up, ASD? What up, Melodies of Misery? Leah Bordeaux. Hey, yo, Tom, you're awesome. Your chat is awesome, too. Just thought people should know. People should know. We need to get the word out. We need to make sure everybody is aware. Yeah, oh, Samsung. There we go. On the money. Everybody hit them thumbs upsies, please. We gotta have them. Gotta have the thumbs upsies. But yeah, we're gonna jump on. We'll talk to them for a bit. Somebody wanted to... Tom, tonight, I'm gonna wait and call in. Okay. So yeah, that's after I go on with them. We'll take calls after I do this show. And then let's see, PF Young wants to come on in a couple of days, so we're probably going to talk to him on Tuesday, I believe. Yes, my daily routine of seeing Tom getting stun locked by chat. See, it's not stun locked. It's not stun locked. You guys get stun locked by me. I'm the guy who stun locks 100 other people. What retardation is being discussed today? All of it. All of it. All of the retardation. So the guys the other day who I was talking to about Russia and all of that crap, we're gonna go talk to them again today. I guess they're doing a like a short call-in show they want me to jump on to, so we're gonna go do that. I posted a short today. So I had a free, if you guys weren't here the other day, I talked to Torche. See, I love this chick, dude. I love
One thing
her.
in your closet you need to get rid of. One thing you will never get rid of. One thing you never wear. One thing you wear all the time. One thing that is brand new.
She's so fit. I know. It's freaking crazy. Her and Dua Lipa, dude. Dua Lipa freaking drives me crazy, bro. This chick is... She is something else. Torche.
They'll be like, women didn't die in war. And I'm like, actually, women were fighting in war in the American Civil War. They were disguised as men.
That's
Not
such a small amount, though,
No,
right? Like, it's
it
such a
depends on-
small amount of... I don't know why this screen always cuts off shorts. Of women.
No.
That is... What do
no,
you mean,
fact
no?
check it right now.
You're saying that there's like more than 5% of the people fighting were women.
Yeah.
620,000 people died. Their
Okay.
estimates say that about maybe 1,000 women were in the Civil War.
They chose to do that, though. They weren't
I
allowed
understand.
to.
I understand, but you're making that point off of me saying that like women were limited on what they could or couldn't do, that men were going to
Sure,
have
but
a
you
lot
were
more
saying,
freedom
like,
and they
it's
were
only
doing a lot
a-
more things.
You were saying it's only a certain amount of women. I'm like, I mean, women were making that decision. You're saying that they couldn't make a decision? I'm arguing they could.
Sure, they could make a decision if they pretended to be a man, then they could make a decision. Sure.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Right. They'll be like,
Stand up. Why? You want to see my shirt? This is the coolest shirt. Legs still unconfirmed. No, I got legs. Well, yeah. Legs have been confirmed. I've done... Damn. This is also small now. Let's see. I got proof I got legs. So I've done like IRL stuff a bunch of times. Here you go.
You know, he bought it. What they're saying, you know, I mean, he fired everybody, just about all the executives. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Do
I
you think
mean,
he's
obviously things weren't getting done the right way. So,
Yeah. Do you think he's an
And I'm really far from home. I just got left here. And I was trying to find my car. But my question is, I remember coming in right here. It's somewhere here, but I've been doing my alarm and I can't find it. Is it going to get, like, is the parking, is all these cars going to die out so I might see my car soon?
That's likely, yeah.
Okay, because I just want to find my car, man.
Yeah, sure. I think there's a band that just started, so there might be more people coming.
Yeah, I just want to find my car. I don't even know where I'm going. I have nowhere to go, but, like, I just want to get my car.
True. Well, I'm sorry about that.
No, you're
luck,
good.
man.
I mean, that's life. But, like, I'm hoping I can find my car, man.
Yeah, true.
Before this place gets dead.
Well, good luck.
Yeah. I think I'll find it. Pray for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got legs. There you go.
All right. I'll research it.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Good night.
Have a good night. Check out my latest short. It's a good one. You'll like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look in the car.
All right. Legs, homie. I'm married or I'd comment. Can't do that. Can't do that. Tom's putting that dumper on OnlyFans next. True. That's not a bad idea. Dude wanted to find his car. He did, yeah. Yeah, so this was in Savannah, Georgia. Yeah. Do they have... What's up, fools? This is Tom Foolery. I'm here in Savannah, Georgia before the Senate runoff race to cover the streamer Destiny and his community of 300 people as they go door to door and canvass for Raphael Warnock for my documentary on Terminally Online Media. If you haven't subbed yet, there's a link to the trailer in the description. Today, I'm doing street interviews, talking to people about the runoff race, all the madness with Kanye West, and the changes being made to Twitter after the Elon Musk takeover. That dude's girl. She left with Twitter after the Elon Musk takeover. Yep. That's how we do it. I've been to Savannah, Georgia. Beautiful beaches, but hot as blue blazes down there. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I live in Georgia, so I want to see a ghost hunting stream, Tom. That'll never happen. That will never happen. Peaches and cake. Well done. That's cool you were there. I had no idea. So, okay, so I show this every once in a while. But, like I said on there, I have another channel called Terminally Online Media. We're working on our first documentary right now for this channel. It's a channel where we're going to make, like, documentaries about online content creators and their communities and kind of like the way that they've interacted with the zeitgeist and everything. And so yeah, the first one is on Destiny, and
which is a streaming platform mostly focused on video games that
this
has
is the
a
trailer
politics
that's up.
subsection where Destiny, Vosh, Hassan, and other political minds come together to talk about social and political issues.
So,
Yeah, it's my own
Stephen
article
Ronell,
on them.
you're an
Yeah.
online Twitch streamer, political commentator, and YouTube personality.
Ready? Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
Destiny is a political streamer, often credited with the idea of playing video games on stream and talking.
So yeah, we got Mr. Girl, we got Vosh, we got Frames.
So I get to the point where I started like getting away from Destiny, basically.
That was the big split, I think, between Destiny and the rest of the left.
There's actually a distinct change in his behavior. I was a fan of his for a decade.
DGG is the down.
Yeah, we talked about Mr. Girl before the Fallout, so we're gonna have to do another interview with him to get after Fallout. Tom, how regressive do you think it is to define a woman by passability and how feminine they are? Super regressive, dude. I can't believe people would do that. Who would do such a thing? Oh my goodness. That is disgusting. We should just let them self ID. Just let them decide for themselves. That's how we should do it. That's the real progressive way to do it, right? Okay. Let's all right, let me see if I can jump on this panel or whatever it is. I don't know if it's actually a panel or if it's just a bunch of people sitting around. This is the wrong one. No wonder. I was like, wait, are they gone?
He's living in their mom's house at 30, talking about, hey, little homie, go get me a beer. And I'm laughing in his face.
Fuck no.
Yeah.
Now, gentlemen, I have to let you know that we have another entrance into the hazard analysis arena, making his hazard analysis debut after a long absence from these shining shores. We have the return of Tom Foolery. Tom Foolery, there we go. That was amazing. As folks, A+ production. Folks, Tom, welcome to Hazard Analysis, the newest, greatest, most spectacularist, most hazardous show in all analysis. How are we doing, sir?
Doing well. What are we talking about?
The urban-rural divide in this nation, and how the gun issue is kind of the crystallization of it, but there's so many other ways of looking at it. And then we started talking about how in the the urban areas, in the metropolitan areas, when you've got extreme poverty and people without much to do, suddenly people get kind of creative on how to fuck with each other's days.
The triple commie true.
Yes. I mean, like, now, Osiris, I don't know if you know this, but Tom Foolery, we decided this many, many years ago, is not only a triple commie, but also a quadruple Marxist. We just wanted to make sure that it's all
wow.
We everything's
not even double down, triple and quadruple down.
You gotta. You should also know they also call me Nebraska Tom now as well. So.
Who calls you that?
The other day, Destiny was watching my show on his stream and kept saying, "I love this guy. He reminds me of Nebraska. Just look at him. He just looks like Nebraska."
Oh, I saw that
And so
clip.
now,
I agree with it.
Now everybody keeps calling me Nebraska Tom. I'm like, what does that even mean? What does that mean? I remind him of Nebraska. I'm from New York City.
Steve,
I lived in
back in the day,
Atlanta. And Nebraska? Like, how does that happen?
Well, it stems from Nebraska, Steve, and that's back when Destiny used to argue like a madman, and that's kind of the meme there.
So he's saying I argue like a madman, I guess is the meme.
Yeah, I don't know where.
Well, I mean, if that's just a comparison because of like Phil, because Phil lives in Nebraska. Like, not all Nebraskans are that argumentative, I swear. Phil's not a representative of all of us. Jesus.
Well, no, the Nebraska part is just where he's from. The and then you add the name because you're a pro debater or a master debater.
Right. I've been to Nebraska. You ain't Nebraska.
Master debater.
Man. Like Nebraska. I was about to say we're from Nebraska, and we're kind of curious about that ourselves.
I want to know what it is. Like, I'm curious what.
It's a long drive down the lore road of Destiny, and I don't know if it's worth it, to be honest.
next time I talk to him, that will be the first question I ask him. Trust me. It's like, so what the hell, Nebraska, huh?
Because you were wearing those glasses too at that time. You did look like a young college Nebraskan.
I was wearing a hat with like deer horns on it and stuff. So yeah, I did look a little country. Yeah.
Classic. There it is. All right.
Little bit country.
There we go.
Rock and roll.
Wait, you weren't doing your Tommy gimmick that night, were you, Tom?
Oh, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
We haven't seen Tommy in a while.
I have no idea who that is.
Yeah. Good old Tommy. Yeah. Did you have
Oh, I love the Hitman look. It's my favorite. We're talking Lincoln, Nebraska, or like Waco, Nebraska? Because that's a good question, man.
Is there a Waco, Nebraska?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Population of about maybe
Waco
like
friendly people up there.
Maybe about like 800 people. Like it's not.
It's a blip on the map.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's a pass.
It's a gas station truck stop.
Yeah. It's a drive-by city. You just gas station. Never have a reason to turn off that exit. Here we go.
I mean, is there a Waffle House?
Oh, there's not a Waffle House in the state of Nebraska. None.
What? Then why is it still in Nebraska?
We got IHOP.
IHOP.
And then we've got like at the Petros, we've got their iron skillets that are open 24/7.
We do have Huddle House now. There's a few of those popping up.
Okay. All right.
You don't know what you're
missing. We
missing.
still got Village Inn.
You don't know what you're
somewhere.
missing. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go to worldstar.com and look at all the things that happen at a Waffle House after 12 o'clock.
Dude, I saw this
Great
little
times.
tiny white chick just block and reverse a chair that got hucked at her and proceed to go to war.
She jumped. The girl jumped on the counter. She knocked her off the counter. It was like a Mike Tyson's punch out. It was great.
Waffle House employees are built different. Understand?
Wait, hold on. What's this? Ursama, I need you guys to help me convince Tom to do a ghost hunting.
Oh,
please no.
Yes.
You've come to the right place.
That's not happening.
Now, okay.
Right
True story. Tony has a ghost hunting team, has for years, and 2020 everybody fucking canceled on it except for 2 other people. And so I'm like, okay, I gotta see this shit. So I go with Tony on the fucking ghost hunting thing. And it is like, what was hilarious is there's one guy, I called him Egon, because he had all the little doodads and all the gadgets that he's gonna catch the ghost with. And then there was one girl
how it works,
who saw ghosts everywhere. If you told her there was a ghost in this room, she's like, and you said the ghost will like touch your shoulder a little bit. It's like, oh my God, the ghost is touching my shoulder. And like, so it was one of the most fun times I had in years. So like, if you go in with an open mind and just kind of like a little bit of a snide grin into it, you're going to have a great fucking time going on a ghost.
Quick question. At the zenith of this, how many black people were on these excursions?
You know what
Exactly
you
zero.
like, kind of like Joe Rogan said about when you go hunting for Bigfoot. You know what you don't find when you go on a ghost hunt? Black people. You're more likely to find a fucking ghost than you are to find a black person hunting for a fucking ghost. Okay.
That's true.
Set and match.
I was
I
gonna say,
mean,
if you
like-
watch any of the bullshit reality TV shows about ghost hunting, there is a very specific demographic that takes up 99.99%.
Let me tell you why. Though.
We'll
Let me
watch
tell
it,
you
we
why,
ain't
though.
going.
Let me tell you why you're not gonna find the black people. Not that black people don't believe in ghosts, because trust me, you talk to enough black people.
That's why you don't see them.
My
'Cause you
grandma
might
seen a
find
ghost.
one.
I seen a ghost. I don't know what the fuck you talking about, but all right. It's just they know they know what not to fuck with, and ghosts is one of the things they're not fucking with. Not at all. They'd rather go hang out in Compton than go looking for ghosts. Trust me.
Did you guys hear the news? Hunter Biden's completely innocent of everything. Did you guys hear
Oh,
about this?
fucking Tom with the segue.
Is that true?
Well done.
Completely
Tom.
innocent
Foolery
all the
comes
way
in.
across the board. It's amazing, dude.
Whoops
But did they
in
find Bigfoot
with a
on his
segue.
laptop? And by
All
Bigfoot,
right.
I mean his penis.
You know, at this point, like, you could tell me they found about anything on that laptop, and it'd be like, okay, well done.
The laptop from hell.
Yes. So,
The
Tom,
laptop never existed either.
God bless you with that amazing segue there.
Laptop.
Okay, Daily Mail. X actings. Oh, well, sheesh, Tony.
I'm trying to get one. Sorry, Justin.
The FBI is not going to let you do the story.
There it is. That's the one I like.
Tom was right. The CIA, the deep state, was trying to silence us from getting this story out, but
What is
we
this?
will persevere.
What is
X
this?
acting CIA director reveals he had 50 spies sign a letter saying Hunter Biden laptop scandal was Russian disinformation to help Joe, quote, win the presidential election. So,
Hey,
folks,
if Tom's gonna get the Illuminati triangle, I should probably have it instead.
why's that?
Just it doesn't seem fair not to see his face, whereas for me, nobody really noticed. There we go. All better.
There we go. Yep,
You got to
totally.
make sure you
There
can
go.
get those clicks.
If anybody wants Tibbs to be behind me, you just call it.
Yeah, no, Letha's like, no, I want the Illuminati triangle. Like, wow, okay, all right. But so, Tony G's ads.
Okay,
are,
yeah. Oh, and let's not get hung up for the belts, folks. Like what I search for in my spare time, that's my business. You should be so grateful that it was something so innocent as wrestling.
The best
I
thing
mean,
about
like,
the belts was I
that
saw
and
BMF on
Tony,
there.
consider-
That's
I
Black
mean,
Mafia family.
Already just looking at
Yeah.
the screen, I know he takes good care of his beard. He likes wrestling belts, and he might be in need of insurance.
Wait, did you say Wrestling?
Wrestling.
Oh,
now, Tony, I mean,
okay.
considering I am the current tribal chief of the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast, I mean, I don't know why you need to look at any other belt. So now the thing is, I want you to keep
Yeah,
this
but
in
I've been
mind.
the RXW champion since 2004, Phil. So
This is the Oxford English Dictionary, their verb definition for rig. Manage or conduct something fraudulently so as to produce a result or situation that is advantageous to a particular person. Now, I want you to keep that before your mind as we go through this article. Now, Tony, for the rest of this, I'm going to let old 2020 vision over here get into the finers of this particular article.
Another word for rig would be Hunter Biden's. No, go ahead and continue.
Well done.
All right. We'll go quickly again. This is from Daily Mail. Retired CIA leader coordinated a letter from former intelligence chiefs claiming that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation because he wanted to help Joe Biden's campaign. Mike Morrell told the House Judiciary Committee that he was asked by Anthony Blinken, the Secretary of State, who at the time was a senior member of the Biden campaign, to help discredit the laptop reporting. Morrell was a former acting CIA director, serving for 2 months in 2011 and 4 months from 2012 to 2013, retired from the CIA in September of 2013. The House Judiciary Committee, led by Jim Jordan, is currently investigating Hunter Biden's laptop as well as the Biden family businesses. Morrell recently conducted a transcribed interview with Jordan's team and was asked about the Biden campaign's response to said laptop. Now, ever get past the ads? If they're good, Lord, this is
No, you're not
painful.
allowed to get
The
past
laptop. No, they're just gonna blink at me like the
That's
neon
sick.
signs in Vegas. The laptop had been left in a Delaware repair store, was touted by Rudy Giuliani, Donald Trump's lawyer, as providing evidence of supported corruption among the Biden family. Biden campaign said the efforts to publicize content of the laptop bore the hallmarks of a Russian disinformation campaign. The laptop included explicit photos of the troubled Hunter Biden naked, with prostitutes taking drugs, as well as multiple emails and texts between the 53-year-old and his father. Now, we've seen all this. We've all seen the infamous pictures of him in the tub with the pipe and the hookers and him wearing the scarf and what looks like tighty-whitey diaper briefs. I don't know. It's very unsettling, but let's be frank, you know, most people do a lot of drugs and have access to a camera phone probably do the same thing. So that's not really why people are upset about him, is doing drugs and having hookers and being an all-around pile of shit. That's not
Boy,
why
that's a lot of crack, though. 20
People get
grams of
mad
crack is a lot of fucking crack.
it is a lot. It sounds like a lot. It does seem like a lot. It's
people
his
need a lot of
tie
crack.
to the current
Ask
sitting
any
president of
crackhead.
the United States that kind of rubs people the wrong way here. And once you delve a little deeper into this, you see that there might be some business connections between his father when he was, you know, oh yeah, that's right, been in politics for almost 50 fucking years. Very high sitting as of, you know, the last 10 to 20 years. So that's kind of why people are upset. So I'll read some of the specifics for me in that direction.
So
I just saw the dad from Family Matters. That was great.
Days go by. So, all right, let's get us all back to beautiful vision there. All right.
Lost my triangle. Damn it.
Oh, you lost. Oh, I'm so sorry. You're not.
Sorry.
The Illuminati's not taking you anymore. Sorry about that, Lethe.
Let me ask you a question. Can I ask a question about this real quick?
Rocket.
How is this? What is the difference between this being called rigged or this being called hardball politics? Because it's not. These types of things are not new to politics, and
Well,
we've accepted that in American. We've pretty much accepted that as something that they do.
Now, this is unique because we had people in our intelligence community, our intelligence agencies at this point actually injected themselves into our election to say something that these 50 intelligence officials signed a letter that they knew to not be true in order to try and secure a certain, and it's why I brought up the definition of rigged, and I'll read it again. Manager conducts something fraudulently so as to produce a result or situation that is advantageous to a particular person. Did the CIA do exactly that to produce a result or situation that is advantageous to a particular person, being Joseph R. Biden? Yes, absolutely. Like there's really no way to.
No, I was genuinely asking the question because I don't know. I don't really care about any of this, to be honest with you. I think it's wrong that anybody use the different arms of the government to sway elections. That's obviously unethical as fuck. But on the other hand, this seems like something I don't give a fuck about, and something that the United States government has been probably doing for a long time. I could be wrong, but it seems like I could probably go dig up a lot of cases where public officials were using other parts of the government to secure elections. It just seems like because it's in the news every day now people care. Which is, I guess, is fair.
mean, like, man, you want to talk about two wrongs not making a right? Like,
No,
well, I
it's
mean,
not two
yeah,
wrongs not
because
making it right.
the deep state might have
No, that's
tried
not what I'm
to
saying.
do some tampering here. I'm sure we could find some tampering somewhere else, so that makes all better.
No,
now, right?
that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying two wrong. This is obviously wrong. What I'm saying is, out of all the bullshit that I have to move through that in the political atmosphere, how much priority am I putting to this one?
You should put some pretty heavy priority if our intelligence agencies are willing to pick and choose who they're going to side with in elections. That's kind of scary, because then there's this extra layer beyond anything that the Constitution laid out, beyond the Electoral College, beyond the Supreme Court, this extra layer that nobody voted for, that nobody elected, that nobody even wants, and has apparently the ability to act with impunity.
Do you think that all of American politics has been rigged for, if not all American history, but most of American history?
Yes.
That's
Fuck
what I'm
yes.
saying. That's where I'm
1,000
coming from.
times yes.
This is why I mean, I'm not saying this is not wrong. I'm just like
I do. I do.
I'm saying this is wrong as fuck. But from where I'm coming from, I'm like, this is business as usual. They be fucking us over for a long time. If you
I
want
missed grow the farm up. The CIA has picked every president since Kennedy. Anonymous.
I missed almost everything that Tony said when he was reading it. He was cutting in and out.
Yeah,
at least from me.
Yeah, you had to refresh, but
I have no big.
So I don't know what all was read.
Basically, that article just gave a really quick summarization of what we've already been told. We've already
reread the first two paragraphs, T,
All right,
because that was where the juice of it was.
Let me go back to the first two here. So, retired CIA leader coordinated a letter from former intelligence chiefs claiming that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation because he wanted to help Joe Biden's presidential campaign. Mike Morrell told House Judiciary Committee that he was asked by Anthony Blinken, the Secretary of State, who at the time was a senior member of the Biden campaign, to help discredit the laptop reporting. Morrell was a former acting CIA director serving for 2 months in 2011 and 4 months from 2012 to 2013 and retired in September 2013. So,
and Morrell said this to who?
What's that, Tom?
Morrell said this to who?
The House Judiciary Committee.
Okay, so he said this during the hearings, or during like their investigation.
Sounds like he said it during the hearings.
Let me verify.
Just read it again, T.
This actually had a link with that quote. The ex-deputy CIA director, who was one of 51 intelligence chiefs calling the laptop disinformation, is deposed by Republicans into his bid to discredit salacious reports about the president's son. Weaponization panel chair Jim Jordan is deposing a former CIA director in connection to the investigation into Hunter Biden. Ex-deputy CIA director Michael Morrell signed a letter in 2020 warning emails on Hunter's laptop had classic remarks of a Russian information operation. House Republicans feel the letter was a concerted effort to discredit damning information found on Hunter's laptop. So, powerful House subcommittee is seeking testimony from a former high-ranking intelligence official who warned that the emails had earmarks of Russian disinformation. Weaponization of the federal government panel, a subcommittee under House Judiciary, will depose Michael Morrell on Tuesday, a source told the Washington Examiner. And this article is from
3 days ago,
April 6th.
Yeah. So
this one that I clicked on from that.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so we've got former CIA director.
I just spilled a drink.
Hold on. Oh, no problem. But former CIA director saying, yeah, that letter that we signed saying it was all disinformation. Yeah, I did that because I wanted to help the Joe Biden campaign. So I'm curious, like, what if the FBI decides they want to help the Joe Biden campaign and start raiding the home of the main political opposition of Joe Biden in the next coming election? I mean, that would be like Banana Republic shit that we would never fucking do, right? I mean, that would just be unheard of if that were, oh, wait, we just did that a few months ago. And so, yeah, that's kind of where we're getting here. What happens when the major governmental panels, major alphabet soup agencies decide that they're going to help a certain presidential campaign? Do you have no problem with that at all?
Let me ask you this, Phil. What if a political opponent legitimately committed a crime? Now, I'm not talking about hiding his fucking paperwork in his house and doing dumb shit. Like a real crime. He did a crime. And it was 7 weeks before an election. That raises a lot of political flags, of course, because you don't want to be using the three-letter agencies to
If
investigate.
they committed a damageable, actionable crime that can actually be objectively verified and isn't some nonsense process crime or paper crime that's being made up in order just to try and interfere with an election, then yes, the chips should fall where they may. And I believe that in all instances, the chips should fall where they may, which is why I think they should totally, except for redacting the victims' names, completely release the Epstein list. Let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah. Do you think the Benghazi was over investigated?
No. For
So
Americans
then,
died. We should
I
at
was
least
gonna
get to
say
the
this,
bottom of that.
Osiris.
So, what do you think the Bill Clinton thing was over blown?
Which Clinton thing? The
getting
blowjob?
the head in the Oval Office that wasn't really sex.
Yeah, I don't think that was.
Oh, whoa. Okay. This is something that people kind of forget. Remember when Bill Clinton said, "I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky"? He was under oath.
That's why he had to redefine sex.
Well,
I understand.
he didn't.
No. When
he was innocent, he was just there.
His hands were
well,
like
then
this.
why did the Bar Association disbar him for lying under oath? Because he was no longer
He committed
seen to be-
perjury. Yes. But
He committed a felony on film and still walked.
But the same way that
and still walked.
But you see the parallels here. The same thing that you're doing with Donald Trump, people are doing with him too, because he lied about getting his dick sucked. Nobody cares.
He committed perjury on film. Donald Trump
nobody
has done no
cares.
such thing.
No, Donald Trump
The
is some
offense was
wild
different.
shit that makes no sense at
Nobody
all.
gave a fuck that he got head in the Oval Office.
Nobody
It's the
gave a
fact
fuck,
that he
and I
lied
don't even give a
about
fuck that he
under
lied
oath.
about it. Most people didn't care. The poll showed at the time most people didn't care either, and I think that first of all, throwing a lot of aimless bullshit at Donald Trump makes that if something actually does happen, you are killing any optics of actually making anything stick because you've thrown so much shit at the guy. So this is the same thing I'm saying for him. Just in the same way people didn't care about Bill Clinton, they shouldn't care about the minor things or the dumb things that he does. Because these top secret documents, from what I understand, they should not be in the hands of anybody, for the most part. But lots of people have these documents all over the country because they're in some position to have them. It was an accident. They always say it was an accident. It was stacked in my paper. It happens all the fucking time. So it feels like Democrats are overblowing this in the same way that Republicans were overblowing that. That's what I'm saying. And I say, look, let retards be retards.
But just like most people didn't care, and I agree with you, most people didn't care. I don't like with Hillary and the email issue, even though she got investigated, she still won the popular vote. And same deal with the Hunter Biden laptop scandal going on. He still won the popular vote.
Sorry, just real quick. I'm reading something from the House Judiciary Committee spokesman saying that Jim Jordan took a couple excerpts out of the transcription out of context and then put them together to make something very different that Blinken never actually said those things, and nobody
Drop your link
asked
in the
him.
private chat. We'll
Okay.
check it out.
This is from the actual committee spokesman.
Jim Jordan is he the head of that committee? Or
I think so.
The minority
I
head
know.
or whatever.
I know that it. I don't think it's Jim Jordan, but there is a Republican. That's the head.
Yeah, weaponization panel chair.
Okay, this is the House Committee on the Judiciary Democrat ranking member Gerald Nadler. Oh my God, this is Nadler. This is Nadler saying
They actually
this is out of
show the
context.
two. They actually show the two side by side. Like they show the actual quotes right there from the transcription, and they show what it was that was put out.
Now, did he shit himself when he dropped this for all of us to see, or was he able to make it without having to waddle off stage? Y'all have seen that, right? When Jerry Nadler shit himself on stage and had to waddle off stage.
I'm so confused. Is this website specifically for Democrats?
Absolutely.
It's Jerry Nadler's website.
Yeah.
Why is it a .gov?
Yeah.
Because he's actually I forget, is he senator? No, he's a congressman.
So
because he is specifically a congressman, and he's on the House.
Misleading a little bit, but
he's
all
on the House. Oh well, yeah, like that. everybody's trying to make themselves look as official as possible, so everyone has to try and believe their bullshit. That's this weird non-existent high ground everybody's trying to climb on, as everybody's trying to seem like they're more official than the other one. But it's sometimes the smallest, softest voice can carry the grandest and biggest solutions, folks. So what's Tony, are you seeing any? What do you see?
Yeah, it even says right here, it says, in response to questions posed by Chairman Jordan's own lawyers, he testified that Blinken did not direct or suggest or insinuate in any way that he should write a letter about Hunter Biden's laptop. Nor did Mr. Blinken, then a private citizen, try to get at the letter indirectly. Mr. Morell testified that Mr. Blinken did not hint that the Biden campaign could use some help on this, or suggest that Mr. Morell should cook up something that the campaign should use. So this is in like the actual transcription from the
that's according
from
to
the
spokesman.
testimony.
No, that's according to the spokesman.
Correct, but this is the testimony right there.
So folks, you've got Jerry Nadler, Democrat extraordinaire, Daily Mail. You make your own decision as to who to trust there, folks. But no, Tom, thanks for bringing it.
I would trust the transcripts
ultimately,
personally.
Yeah, it says it right there in the transcripts. That's what he said, but I don't know. It says a question. Okay, it wasn't.
Comes down to whether or not anybody wants to accept or believe that there was intent to shelve an actual issue. So what we're talking about here is did Hunter Biden do something warranting an investigation into him? Now, obviously, that's happening.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, of course.
Yeah. So this should be investigated. Was it necessary to shelve that at the time that they shelved it? Because what we're looking at, and that's the problem here, is what people are saying, well, why didn't we look into it then? Why didn't we make a big deal about it then? Well, because it was on the heels of election season. Now, if we're going to sit here and pretend that they didn't just, let's just wait and hold off on that, because it would make his father look bad during a presidential election, we're just trying to fool ourselves.
Well, they generally don't do that anyways. Like, they normally don't do, like, make public statements or do investigations during an election season. Yeah, they just, like, I'm not saying that that's the right thing to do, but that is just generally how they do it. Like, the one time that they did otherwise is the Comey situation with Clinton. And that was bullcrap. Like, because... Yeah, I would rather, I'm not saying that this is how they should do it again, but I would like it to be consistent one way or the other. Either they're gonna do it the way that Comey was doing it, or they're gonna do it where they're actually
I think there should be no investigations of presidential figures or candidates before an election, but that doesn't mean the news can't cover it. So, because what we're voting for is the opinion of the general public. Now, the problem with having an investigation before an election is that, first of all, I don't think you can have a legitimate investigation right before an election. I think there's too much political power and stuff being moved around at that point for it to happen. And there's a lot of things happening. Too many moving gears, as they say. Once they get elected, fucking go for it. The problem with elections
is...
If
you're talking about two people that are heading into an election year, and one of them potentially has a son overseas doing business dealings that person running for president could be connected to that are very, very we shouldn't know about that before we vote for them.
No, I didn't say didn't know. The news, let's not forget the news is an important part of the balance of power in this situation. I think the news should do the news thing. They should be doing the news thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if I remember correctly, Fox was and right-wing media was all over the shit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, of course.
Yeah, but the FBI didn't even go pick up the laptop for a while. They literally just left it.
Brendan Roy's explaining it much better than I did a minute ago. When I said shelve it, that was underselling it. They called it Russian propaganda, Russian disinformation, said, oh no, this story's not real because this is just Russian hoax. This is people trying to tamper with the election. Well,
but yeah, they couldn't shelve it. They didn't have the laptop yet.
Voters the other way. And
Chicken actually got banned on Facebook for 30 days for even sharing this story.
There you go. That is verifiable. We had content taken down.
Yeah, Chicken got banned on 30 days on Facebook for sharing the Hunter Biden laptop story.
That was the New York Post story.
Well, no, because they were citing, look at this letter from intelligence officials saying that this is disinformation, when we now know they knew this not to be true. And even this person that we were quoting earlier saying, well, if I thought it was Russian disinformation, I would have been inclined to agree. So they didn't know, but they just said it was, in order to do what? Make a
So we know
situation
it
beneficial
wasn't
for a
Russian
certain person.
disinformation.
They were trying to bury the
That it
case.
was not Russian disinformation. So
We don't
putting
know
the
that they
idea,
knew
the
that,
concept
though.
out there that it was Russian disinformation was an egregious lie.
Yeah, but no, we don't know that they knew that, though. They didn't even have the laptop.
They didn't have any evidence.
We
though.
know it wasn't Russian.
They had no evidence that there
know
was
that.
any
We
kind of
do
Russian
know this.
disinformation, or
not-
this
they-
had anything to do with Russia.
Yes,
they
no,
had zero
That
evidence.
is not what they said. That's not what they said. They didn't say
They
that
said
had
it was
evidence.
Russian disinformation.
No, they did not.
50
They said-
officials signed a letter.
No,
Yes,
they did not.
Absolutely,
No, they did not. They
Everything I just said,
absolutely
the
did
audience
not.
will
You
find is
are
quite
lying.
verifiable.
You are lying right now. They
I'm
said
not.
that it has all of the
So
markers
50
of
intelligence
Russian...
officials did not
Stop
sign a letter
talking.
saying this
Stop
Hunter
talking.
Biden laptop is
They s-
misinformation. Yes or no?
They said that it has all of the markers of Russian disinformation. That is what they said.
And that was what got people banned on the internet based on that, which what they knew not to be true. They had no evidence for
that
it.
is not-
no
no, it is
evidence
not.
for
No,
it.
it is not.
Tom,
No,
I'm
it
going to
is
say
not.
it again.
No, you're
No
wrong again.
evidence for what
Okay.
they claimed, and it silenced millions.
Okay, yeah, you're wrong again. They already...
No, I'm not. Happened to
dude,
us.
are you
Happened
gonna
to
keep
chicken. Happened
talking
to our
over me
good
every
friend.
time I start
Tom finish?
talking?
Can we
My
let Tom
goodness,
finish
bro.
real quick?
Every time I let you finish, and then as soon as I start talking, you go off on another rant. Okay,
No, I'm just correcting you. I'm
Facebook
sorry.
and Twitter had already started banning people before that letter came out. They had already started doing that. So
That
it
was what
had
was
nothing
cited
to
for
do with the
us.
letter, though. That had to do with the fact that the FBI, like 6 months earlier, had come to them and said that they need to keep an eye out for Russian misinformation. That's what that came from. And
This
we
is what
already
gaslighting
have
looks like,
testimony
folks.
from both what the damn it, I'm blanking on both their names, but the guy who runs Facebook and the guy who ran Twitter at the time.
Zuckerberg and
Yes, from Zuckerberg and
Tom or
Todd
whatever
or
fucking
whatever.
name,
Is,
whatever.
yeah, we already have them saying that is why they started doing that, is because they had already been told months earlier that was the case.
Then why did they
What
sign a
the-
letter if they didn't know for sure
what-
anything at
hang
all?
on, hang
Unless it was to try and help
Hang on.
somebody in an election. There's really
Hold
no
on,
other
hold on.
explanation.
They
at this
didn't
point.
say they knew
Hold on,
anything.
hold
They
on,
said that it had all of the markers. That's all they said.
And why did they sign any letter at all? Why did they say anything
Phil,
if they didn't actually
on.
know anything for sure?
Hang
They
on.
didn't say they knew
Hang on.
anything for sure.
on.
You keep saying, why did
That
they
is just
why did they
nonsense,
sign
first of all.
something that has nothing to
Tony,
do with the
go
letter?
ahead.
Phil.
You're asking why they signed something, and then you're saying something completely different than what the letter said. It didn't say they knew
okay,
anything
I'm looking
at all.
at the website Politico. What leaning is that?
No leading. That political.
Unbelievably leftist.
No, political.
Okay, I just want to.
Wait,
I just want to.
am I thinking right? No, I'm thinking 538. Sorry.
So this is an
Politico
article
is
from
sock
Politico.
dem pornography.
Okay.
It really is.
This
like
is
an
a
awful-
article from Politico on the 19th of October 2020.
Mhm.
Hunter Biden story is Russian disinformation, dozens of former intel officials say. More than 50 former intelligence officials signed a letter casting doubt on the provenance of a New York Post story on the former vice president's son.
Yeah, but what Tom is saying is that the
That's not what the
social
letter
media
actually
companies
said.
had already been en route to burying it before this.
Yes, so that's not what the letter actually said, and the like Twitter and
Politico's
Facebook.
lying here.
No, they're
Because
misquoting.
that's their
it.
headline. So is Politico lying?
I'm saying they're misquoting it. They are incorrect.
So you're saying Politico's lying. Okay. Gotcha.
I'm saying they are incorrect.
Well, did we read the
Distinction
whole
without a
thing?
difference.
No, distinction with all
See,
of the
here's what it
difference.
says. More than 50 former
you're
intelligence officers
pushing
signed a letter.
intent
Dishonest
when
and
you
lying
say
is a distinction without a
there's a
difference.
reason
No,
you
the
want
words
to
are
say
casting
lie
doubt.
instead of just misinformation, and it's because intent comes with a lie. And I'm saying misinformation because I don't care about the intent. I don't have the evidence of the intent. If you have that evidence, I'd be happy to see it. But I do know that they're incorrect. I can send you the actual letter if you'd like to see that instead.
To keep going, T. This is fun. This is fun.
Oh, well, you want me to read this? Okay, so
Yeah.
again, this is from the 19th of October, 2020. More than 50 former senior intelligence officials have signed on to a letter outlining their belief that the recent disclosure of emails allegedly belonging to Joe Biden's son has all the classic earmarks of a Russian information operation. The letter signed on Monday centers around a batch of documents released by the New York Post last week that purport to tie the Democratic nominee to his son Hunter's business dealings. Under the banner headline, Biden's secret emails, the Post reported it was given a copy of Hunter Biden's laptop hard drive by President Donald Trump's personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, who said he got it from a Mac shop owner in Delaware who also alerted the FBI. While the letter's signatories presented no new evidence, they said their national security experience had made them deeply suspicious that the Russian government played a significant role in this case and cited several elements of the story that suggested the
Sign a
Kremlin's
letter
hand at
saying
work.
nothing.
So
Yes, they didn't. Yeah, they didn't have the freaking laptop, so they were just
So
saying.
why would they say, "Oh, this is definitely Russian misinformation"?
That's not what they
and
said.
that is
Stop
what social
changing
media
it.
companies
That is
ran
not
with.
what they said. That's not what they said. Stop changing it. They didn't say it's definitely Russian misinformation.
As all
They
the
said-
hallmarks, according to my
said it had the
training,
earmarks.
this is Russian information. Signing a letter based on no evidence, saying something that they knew not to be true
No,
in order
they
to help
marked
Hunter
13.
Biden.
No, they put 13 markers of evidence, actually, that they say. When they say it meets
nothing.
all of the markers, they put the 13 markers
which
that
is
they believe that it
indicative of
meets.
what?
Nothing. Like literally nothing. Just what they believe. And that's what they say. They
They're
literally
saying
say
it
this is what we
they're
believe.
using it as a descriptor of what?
Of misinformation.
I don't think either one of you guys are wrong. I think this is just a matter of the way you're interpreting something, and especially in hindsight, without all the timeline, it's hard for anybody. At least it's hard for me to grapple with what actually happened. I'd have to go back and look, but I don't think either one of y'all are wrong, because Tom is coming from a standpoint like I'm looking at what they actually said. This is what actually happened, so, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and.
But then look
Which
what
is a good way.
Politico
Hold on,
itself is
real quick.
reporting. all the
Real
world.
good. That's a good way to look at things.
2 years ago.
But you guys are saying these are political actors. Who cares what they said? What they said, but you can't always take what they say as face value. There's intention, or there's some underlying intention behind what they said, and that's probably what happened.
Yeah, not even just that, but the
spies are always
story
going to lie to you.
in
Keep
general
that in mind.
is just insane. To think that a president's son would even be allowed to just drop off a freaking laptop anywhere. But then also find out on top of that that it has like a bunch of incriminating evidence about the president's son. That somehow this is even allowed to take place. I thought there's no way in the world this is actually a real thing. There's no freaking way. Then on top
You
of
also
that,
have the CIA
then on
telling
top
you
of
there's
that-
no way that's a real thing, too.
Then on top of that, you already have all of these intelligence agencies expecting Russian misinformation around this time. And so they're thinking, okay, yeah, obviously that's a freaking ridiculous thing. That is insane. No way this actually took
I don't
place.
like
We're
the
all
idea
waiting
that the
for this
intelligence
anyways.
agencies would make such a bold assumption and not take anything seriously. But
They
that's
didn't make
just-
an
It wasn't an assumption. It
Sounds
was
like
a
it was.
suggestion.
Yes,
It
again,
was
it's
a
not an assumption.
suggestion.
When they
are saying
assumed it was
the
Russian
markers.
disinformation, that was them making an assumption.
They didn't assume
say
that.
you get a
Suggestion
call. Say you
is
get a call.
an assumption without a different. Come on.
Again,
It's
no,
the
they
same
didn't make
exact
the
thing in
assumption.
this
Again,
regard.
Either
when
they made
all
the assumption or
say-
Politico's lying.
No, I'm
your choice.
saying political is
Don't
wrong.
lie.
Political can be wrong without lying. But again, all they said was that it meets all of the markers of Russian disinformation. That is what they said. That it could still be
So
true.
does a
It's still
fucking
true
comment
that
on
it
a
meets all the
Facebook
markers.
Group. Like, there's what are the earmarks? What are the classic earmarks?
They put it in
of
the letter.
Russian disinformation?
They literally
Because
put
you
it
can
in
apply
the
that
letter.
to almost anything that you don't want to have legs. To immediately cut those legs out from under it. Tell me that's not a tactic.
You guys, again, listen, this is the difference, is that you guys make these like leaps of logic that I'm just not willing to make. Like you fill in all of the blanks and I'm not filling in the blanks. I'm saying what literally happened.
Like the
and you guys are
CIA
saying
trying to
what you
interfere
like
in the election.
would happen.
I mean, it's pretty obvious. Like, I mean, like it's if you got two eyes to
Unless
see,
you're in
two ears to
China.
hear, yeah, it's pretty obvious.
But your
this is what
eyes and
happened.
ears didn't see either one of those things. They didn't.
Who are you gonna believe, folks?
That's what you're just
Tomfoolery or your
adding in
lion
there.
eyes? Brendan, boot looking is the term you're looking for from Bandit. So yeah, folks, like I said, I always keep my definition that I gave at the beginning of this before your mind, because there's really no other way that you can look at it that was what the CIA ultimately did when they And I will bring it again for you folks. Once my phone loads. The government just made a statement saying they're evil and untrustworthy. Tom can take our side now. Nice. Nice.
Awesome.
This is
I'm here for it.
Manager conducts something fraudulently so as to produce a result or situation that is advantageous to a particular person. So, folks, I want you to always keep that before your mind when you think back to this particular story and the many more to come before. And look at the slippery, weaselly language that the deep state tries to use. No, I didn't say it was rigged. I said it maybe could have, maybe sort of might have been, but we're still going to crack down on social media viciously regardless, even though it's a sort of maybe, who knows, regard. And so, yeah, just ask Chicken. He was silenced.
Wait, they didn't crack down on social media. What are you talking about?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, we
Chicken
have-
was
How?
silenced during that particular election cycle
have
because he
exact
shared
proof of it.
specifically the Hunter Biden election story.
Again, this is before they had the laptop. And if I'm a social media company and you're bringing, hold on, let me just say
He's
this.
sharing a story about the laptop, man. What are you
hold
talking
on.
about?
If I-
We
hold on,
literally
let me say
have the
this. Let me say
emails
this.
from Twitter. We literally saw their conversations about
yeah,
this.
we saw the conversation between the FBI and Twitter. If I'm a social media company and I don't want to happen in 2016, me personally, fuck all politics. I'm deleting politics for 6 months before the election. They at least allowed some of it, and this seemed like Tom said,
Pro Biden, some of it.
no. This like Tom said at the time before the laptop and all the stuff had been revealed as actual evidence. The story sounds ridiculous. It sounds retarded on its face, like that. And there's no way I'm letting this on my platform.
That's why.
So you censored true information.
No,
What
you don't
story
know it
did
to be
you-
true at the time. You don't
Hold on,
know
wait,
it.
just to be
But
clear,
it is.
again, just to be clear,
That's why
they
you have to have
censored-
free speech, because you don't know what is true,
you.
and we have to let sunlight be the best disinfectant.
Yes, just to be clear, they censored one story, one news article. That was it. Everybody else who was talking
Me,
about
I
it
would
but
give
didn't
it all
have
of
those
it.
same things in it, they allowed that on the platform. They allowed screenshots of the articles without the PPI in it. Like, they allowed a bunch of other things. It was just one article that they didn't allow.
Oh, and they didn't allow the Hunter Biden pictures and stuff because first of all, that's revenge porn. That's illegal. You can't.
That's what
have
I
that.
was asking about.
But they did throttle other
Yeah.
things. They did throttle other stories.
So, like,
Yeah,
what did you share, Tony, that got you banned?
Former Twitter executive concedes Wednesday that they made a mistake by blocking access to the explosive Hunter
chicken.
Biden
What about
laptop
chicken?
story
That's in hindsight.
weeks before the 2020
Okay, that's in
presidential
hindsight.
election.
Yes, no, I agree that they
Jesus
made a
Christ.
mistake there.
So yeah, maybe we should not try to pick and choose what kind of facts we allow people to
you need to
consider
go one
and
of both
chew
ways.
on,
You need to
and
go
let
both ways.
people make their own
you
decisions.
need to go
Because
one
let
of
me
both
ask, no, I'm curious. Is there anybody here that has somebody that they would like to nominate to decide for you what's fit for you to read? Is there anybody who feels they weren't grown up enough to handle this Hunter Biden story and decide for themselves? I'm curious. Did anybody feel they weren't
I think
grown up
individuals
enough
are- I
in the
think-
immediate aftermath?
I think
I mean,
individuals are grown up
this
enough. I
panel
don't
right
think that,
here is evidence
I
of
don't think
people who
social
aren't
media is
grown up enough.
I get it, Tom. You were not prepared for the truth, and you had to have the daddy Twitter and daddy Facebook block it for you for a few months until you were ready for it.
I read it.
Well, look.
I read it, and I
Oh, you were
sat here and
grown up
talked to
enough
you
for it.
guys
Why
about it.
isn't everybody else?
Well, you
Why do you
weren't.
think it needs to be
Everybody else
blocked by
except
other
for
people?
you, maybe, but the rest of us were.
No, I
real
handled
quick.
it just fine, and
Real
I'm just
quick,
waiting for you to catch
Apparently
up, man.
not.
Go ahead, go ahead.
If I own a social media company, there's only two ways you can go about this, practically in my mind. You either have to let everything go, and you're doing like a lot of alternative platforms that are proposing free speech and its absolution, basically 4chan light, or you're gonna do social media the way we know it today, and you need to block. To me, you need to. I say you should do a political blackout for certain times of the year because that you can't manage what you don't know. And this is an example of managing something that you don't know.
It's not even that. It, like, at the time, the Senate was down Twitter's throat about misinformation getting out about they had just had the congressional hearings about the Russian misinformation from 2016 election and all the trouble that they were getting into. They believe that, you know, they're about to get a ton of regulations put on them. And so, yeah, they're freaking terrified in this moment that they're going to start losing their platforms. They're going to start losing their TOS. And so they're doing everything they can to make sure that 2016 does not happen again, because a lot of Russian misinformation really did get out in 2016, a lot of it. And so they're all trying their best to make sure that the same exact thing didn't happen. And
by
they
the way,
were,
Tom,
and I will
with
agree.
you.
Hold on.
They did
hold on,
everything
hold on,
they could to not
wait.
let 2016 happen again by letting
And
guns
I
go.
will, and I will
know.
agree that they probably, obviously, that they made a mistake by doing what they did. But when you look at the emails that were happening in the background, I like the process that they went through to do it. I like what it was that they were doing, and I like the conversations that they were having. I like the arguments that they were having.
By the way, they went against
I
the
like
federal
that they
government.
were. I like the thought processes that they were using to do this. I liked all of it. It looked like they were doing the right thing.
I mean, what a shock that a Biden voter would like all the processes that slowed down a story that would have been disadvantageous to Biden. I mean, I'm sorry, like it does like
I don't see
Oh,
any reason it would have
hi,
been
Ty.
disadvantageous to Biden. I see no reason it would have affected Biden
I
whatsoever.
don't know why you're here, Ty, but
All right, I think that's a good
Ooh,
point.
are you?
Jeez, Phil.
So look, Phil. So if I gave you a company, if I gave you a social media company,
Still
and I
mad
said,
about that
"Listen, you have to
Discord.
run it." Look, to be honest with you, this is who failed. The federal
I would
government.
not extend to Ty a courtesy he's not extending to me if I own that social media company. I'm sorry.
Jeez, Phil.
Anyways,
come
moving on. So if I give you a social media company, to be honest with you, the federal government has failed because the federal government has failed to put in place any type of rules and regulations for these social media companies. They're doing it by the wind. A matter of fact, Zuckerberg and the owner of Twitter has said repeatedly in front of Congress, I believe, that they need rules and regulations that come from the government. They don't want to have to handle this stuff. Now I know Tom's shaking his head; he doesn't agree. But that's that.
Sorry, no, I was shaking my head at the comment.
None
Oh,
will be
okay.
offered.
I'm ignoring that right now.
Right.
So if I give you a social media company, Phil, I think I know what your answer is. You're gonna err on the side of free speech absolution and let people just say what they want to say. Is that correct?
Pretty much. I mean, you know, you're gonna basically weed out anything that actually like is direct harm to somebody. But the way that you do that is just direct them to as much KOE content as humanly possible.
What is
You just asked the worst question.
This
you could
beautiful
ask,
face right
and
here
it's
is what you
immediately gonna
see
go to
at
all you
least
need to
7 out of every 10 videos.
KOE Nation on you.
Okay, so what is direct harm? Is
I was gonna say.
is obviously calls the violence a direct harm. But what about
Yeah, like shit like that. Like
what about
I'm gonna go kill so and so because so and so needs like that kind of
what about virtually terrorizing somebody?
Clip it.
Yes, clip it.
Gov regulations fix
Justin,
everything. What happens
you
when
see
they
this?
outlawed
Clip that.
drugs and murder? Oh, Brendan Roy's like,
I mean, there's two sides to both coins, but here's my question: what about virtually terrorizing somebody, like hate brigading and etc.?
I don't know, because like I've often always said, if anybody even like tried to lead something against me, like even if there's a protest outside my house, I would probably just go out the back door with the fake glasses, nose, and mustache, join him, and be like, "Yeah, fuck that guy. He's responsible for all my bad decisions. Fuck him." But yeah, so KOE Nation on Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok. This is true. This is true.
What if they were dropping racial slurs?
Best thing you've said all in days.
So what if they dropping racial slurs against Black people, Hispanics, and Jewish people? Is that allowed on the platform?
Fuck no.
Well, I probably it's definitely not good manners, so it wouldn't be something I would want on my platform.
Well, no, we're not going by good manners.
Well,
it's
my platform, motherfucker.
Well, wait, so what defines good
this
manners?
Is fucking KO. This is the KOE Nation, the dictatorship. No, I get what you're saying. If I was to me personally, that's what the block button's for. There is an extent where if you don't like what somebody's saying, block them.
That's literally what
Twitter did.
Doing.
Yeah, that's what Twitter did. That's exactly what Twitter did. Based. We all agree then. Let's go.
So wait, so no, well done, Tom. They blocked the Hunter Biden laptop story because
they
Hunter
ignored the
Biden was
truth.
saying too many slurs in all the
One
videos.
article.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
No,
Because they didn't ignore the
but you're
truth,
saying
they
if I
have a
don't
line.
like it, if you don't like something, hit the block button. They didn't like it. They hit the block button on that one article. So yeah, that's what they did.
And
We
by the
all
way,
agree.
I don't agree with them. I don't agree with them banning Donald Trump because I don't think there's enough evidence to say that he incited anything. And even if there was,
Stop it, Osiris. I was
no,
agreeing with you
I don't
so
think there's
much.
enough. No, legally,
Let him
legally
cook.
speaking-
Let him cook.
Legally speaking, I don't think there's enough evidence for him to say that. Twitter does have the right, but I don't think it's a good decision. And plus, I don't. If you're gonna, also, I don't think you should block political leaders. I think you should let them say what they want to say, and then if the people vote him out, then you block them, which I think
Well,
is basically what
they
happened.
did vote him out, and
Yeah,
they got rid of him once he was out of office. I agree. If he was still in office and they banned him, that would have been horrible. That would have been insane.
Yeah.
That
They
would,
did
yeah, that
block
would
one
be-
of his tweets on election night. And so, like, to
Well, he had some
Republicans,
unhinged
they were
tweets on
just
him.
like, that
Come
was
on,
the
dude.
moment. Like, that was the moment that a lot of Republicans just tapped out and walked away.
No, but
from a good
unhinged
chunk
tweets
of
from the
process.
president should stay on Twitter. I think so.
I think us as citizens, we should have as unfettered access to whatever fucking thought is falling out of the gourd of the leader of the free world
We
in whatever
do.
way. If
We
he's
have-
just sitting on his toilet
No,
going,
there's literally
I
a
think this
social media
shit's
feed
funny.
from .gov.
I want to know that.
There's literally a social media from .gov. You can use that all day, and then nobody's gonna block you from that.
Yeah, I think.
Truth
I,
Social.
I could be wrong, but I could have
Doing
sworn
well, Todd,
wasn't the one tweet that got blocked like him like claiming victory in the election?
I don't know.
Well, he'd
No,
still
it
be
was
doing that
he
if
was going
still
like
had his
stop
Twitter.
the cap, but like regardless of whatever it is, that is the president of the United States running for re-election, and on election night, social media companies picking and choosing what people want to see. And so, like Osiris, what you're saying here is they need to do this 6 month. But why? Because eventually someone's coming to office, and they're going to say, okay, all you social media companies are openly interfering in our elections, whether you want to admit it or not. And so all of y'all are getting the Fed hammer. And
Well-
so it's coming. I saw the censorship. You saw,
Let me be honest
you
here.
saw the Crenshaw-ship.
The internet is in itself a democratic endeavor. You don't have to use Twitter, and I don't want to hear about the reach of the president. The president, while he's president, could literally open Donald Trump fuck you and make that his platform, and I guarantee you every news media company would have covered it at the time. 100%. Everybody would have looked at it. He did not have to be on Twitter. He did not have to be on Facebook. He is the president of the United States. He can talk from wherever the fuck he wants to, and especially since it's Donald Trump. People were going to cover it and listen to him. And you have no inherent rights to Twitter. That's just a fact. I do believe it's still a private platform. I know there's an argument to be made, but this is why the government needs to come in and make a regulation and rules about what a social media platform is and at what size it is that thing. That argument, that technology argument has been on the table for a decade now. They need to come to a resolution.
Digital.
Yeah,
Bill of
but
Rights.
it's like it is going the other way where they're going to have issues with election meddling and Russian misinformation and people who are and again, like the Russian misinformation from 2016 wasn't one way. It wasn't like they were just helping Trump, and it wasn't that they were just helping Hillary. It was them putting out just a bunch of misinformation about both sides, just trying to draw as much division as possible and confuse as many people as possible. It wasn't them just like, trying to get a specific person elected the entire time. It was just a bunch of bullcrap.
Yeah, and to the argument from the right saying that that we don't know that Russian disinformation in 2016 swayed the election. Yeah, we don't know, but that's not something we want entered into our politics. Just in the same way you don't want the CIA in your politics, you don't want Russia in your politics. Zero. We want zero of that, both sides.
True.
Terrible. And for the potential misinfo shit, there should be some blockage, some bannage. So here's the problem. Nobody's got the proper solution because nobody's going to be happy because you want people with free speech. But then you also have the idea of at one point, these social media companies are now just openly interfering in our elections. So Folks, if you got a answer, let me know. Out.
Wait, I don't like that characterization.
Yeah, I
Twitter
don't
and
see why
Facebook
they're
are not
interfering.
openly
It's
interfering.
like saying
They're
that
allowing
newspaper-
other
When they pick
actors.
and choose what you're allowed to
Well, they have to
digest
pick
and what
and
you're
choose
allowed to
something.
read, yeah, they're
Newspaper could
interfering in the
choose what to
election.
publish. If they don't feel confident in what they're publishing, that would put them on grounds for lawsuits in the future. So if they don't feel
Life
confident
is a
in the
compromise.
reporting-
You have to decide.
Well,
So
no,
what should a social
Twitter
media
Twitter
company have to
isn't
do?
going to be liable. That it's part of what is it? Is it section 230? Is that is that the right one? Am
I don't remember.
believe
I
it
think
is.
so.
What's the one that applies to?
Now, hang on.
Yeah, that's the
Tiberius goes,
Communications DCC
we
Act,
can
yes.
see why Facebook is so bad. Look how shit
That's
those
the
chatters are
Communications
just
Act.
being here. Now, it's kind of like last
Yes.
night, Tiberius,
Section
when you
230.
openly told a bald-faced lie about me
Can
on
we
your
not
panel
litigate
last
this?
night when you
Here we
said misrepresented my position, saying that I said in the leak that
Hey.
troops were actually on the move and in combat. I never said that, and you misrepresented my position last night.
Hey,
Somebody
but-
sent me a video of that.
Hold on.
I-
Let me talk to both of you real quick, real fast. 5 seconds. You guys should litigate.
I'll give you
this.
15.
Okay, you guys should litigate this somewhere else. That's not a good look. Like, you shouldn't do it. Don't do it.
Oh, so what you're saying is on KOE Nation tomorrow night, I'm gonna have the full fucking drama stream all night long.
I told
just
Tiberius
fuck
this.
it all.
I told Tiberius this. I will moderate between you and Tiberius, and you guys can have it out. Privately, I would prefer, but if you want to do it public, I don't give a fuck. Between you two.
Marvelous. What he said. That's what you said. Actually, Ty, I screenshotted everything from that conversation because I figured there'd be some misrepresentation. So I have the receipts. But so what you're saying is tomorrow night, all night, just make it the entire
If
drama.
you guys want to talk about it
like
all night, that's fine. And I'm willing to moderate it if you want. If that's what y'all want.
Tom and
or
Tony,
you guys can have
sorry.
it out. But I don't think you guys should have it out between the chat and on camera.
Yeah, let's not do. Yeah, that's not going to be a good end to this topic. Let's save that for a different.
So Hunter Biden cleared, completely innocent, did nothing wrong.
Okay, that we're going to give you a second to. We're going to give you a
Tom
second to say
Foolery
that, Tom.
is
Phil,
doubling down.
Re-say that again.
I don't know who this Tom person is, but I'm appreciating him.
No, sorry, Tom. I was looking at the. What'd you say there? Sorry.
Said Hunter Biden, completely innocent, cleared of all charges, did nothing wrong. Maybe a little tax thing, everybody has that. Even
There's a
Trump
gun
has
thing.
those issues. That's a
Yeah, you own a legal firearm. We can get
yeah.
him for
That
that.
well, I don't. Was it that it was illegal, or was it that he didn't have? What I forget. It was some sort of technicality thing. Like it. I thought that he had like a license for it. It was just some.
I
don't
want to
even
know. I
remember
want a
what it
book on
was.
this guy, Hunter Biden. This dude got guns, blow, and bitches. He's out here doing his best, living his best life. This guy is living the life.
I think like Tony sent me a TikTok the other day. It's like, I am so on board for Biden 2024. Not Joe, Hunter.
Joe.
I want Hunter to run 24. Because have you heard this guy was an oil executive in Ukraine? He was a real estate agent in China. He's a master painter. I mean, like this guy is like
It'd basically be like getting Charlie Sheen to be president, just no humor. No humor whatsoever.
True.
No jokes, no acting. You're getting the real like Uncle Charlie from 2.5 Men as president. I'm in. I'm sold. If fucking Hunter were running in 2024, how are you not going to vote for that? Come on. You think Joe Biden was a fucking disaster, or you think he was amazing? Doesn't matter. Like, you're going to get all the votes because he's either A, going to be a bigger disaster or highly entertaining. Like, come on. Hunter Biden 2024. That's where it's at, folks.
But yeah,
Tony-
Section 230 makes it so that like the social media platforms can't be held accountable for the stuff that's on the platform as long as they are enforcing their TOS in good faith. And so the like something like having a story on there that has misinformation, they're not going to be able to get sued for it, but they can get regulations for it. Like they can get stricter regulations. Section 230 can be adjusted and changed or completely withdrawn.
No, wait,
and that's what they're afraid of.
I'm curious for Tony and oh my god, my brain's melting right now. Fuck me.
Phil?
You over there in the corner with the
You
American flag.
forgot Phil KOE, the great Phil. I don't know.
I asked for it.
Cyrus,
I'm so
that might be the only crime
What have
in
you
the
done?
KOE nation.
What have you done?
I know.
We might as well
don't-
just
I asked
leave
for
and
that.
let
I
Phil
asked for
have
that.
it.
Look at
Oh,
you.
God.
Emotional damage.
Talk to the elbow because the hand's on vacation.
Oh, I totally forgot my question now. Shit.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
on
let's
for
move
Tony and Phil
You
KOE.
didn't ask me what that weird Rush Limbaugh looking motherfucker over his
I
what
had said
his name
something
was.
about section 230, and then
Oh.
you sounded like you were going to ask a question off of that.
Oh, yes, rules and regulations. So you guys are levying that the social media companies, the major social media companies, are not being fair, particularly towards conservatives. Am that correct?
More or less. It
Okay.
seems to go one direction more than it does the other.
I won't argue that
Especially
one way or
with the
another.
especially with the big timers.
I think that the people in charge of social media platforms generally have
hair dye.
I would say the TOS definitely leans left, for sure.
Okay. So
There's a lot
that's
of
an
stuff we
issue.
can't say
But
these
how do you solve that issue? Because you're not going to get them to self-regulate because everybody has a bias, and these companies are probably top down for the most part when it comes to TOS. What's put in the TOS, et cetera, et cetera. Rules.
Well, they are currently self-regulating.
Yes, they're self-regulating, and nobody's happy, especially conservatives, right? Just to be clear, there's a lot of left people out here complaining about social media too. But what would be the way to fix that? The government, the voters, by extension, the voters would come in and say, "This is what we want, and this is what we don't want." I don't see why you guys have such a. I'm not saying draconian, totalitarian state efforts, iron fist on the social media companies, but some rules and regulations so that we can at least even the playing field for both sides. Is that an issue? Because I keep seeing people say, no rules and regulations because the government bad. Well, no, we have to have a government.
I don't have a problem.
It's kind of the Overton window in itself, and that it's moved so far so far right that things get kind of wonky when they start saying certain things, and it causes problems to the point where people start calling the CDC and other medical agencies to see if it's okay to ingest bleach.
What?
The propaganda gets real dumb real fast, and people aren't discerning at this point. So when you have this kind of problem, you can't let any sort of information get out in certain ways. They have to be responsible. They have to put a disclaimer. Something needs to happen. Can you put a disclaimer on any message the president says when you realize things that the president says are sus as fuck?
Well,
Bleach
speaking
thing
of
with
fake
exaggeration, but I get the sentiment.
Tiberius said, "Hey
You
Phil,
can
word
say
is
whatever
you
you
see the
want.
Northern
If you put a
Lights outside.
disclaimer, it should be good as fuck.
Fake news. Can't see it right now. There's too many cloud
but you
overcast.
We have to put fucking caution contents maybe hot on coffee cups because people were too stupid to understand that going forward.
Do you know
And
what
that
happened to
was
that lady?
that was before social media became a thing. So it's not that people have gotten dumber, even though they have gotten dumber, but people shouldn't be saved from themselves when it comes to reading what they should be allowed to read because one thing leans one way and one thing leans the other way. I don't think political leaning should be the dictation on what people are allowed to read. People should be allowed to make up their own mind. People should be allowed to take in data without having it already kerneled into the writing itself or the words being spoke, how they should interpret said information. Unfortunately, that's what we're getting with social media, with major news companies reporting quote unquote the news. And there's really no way to put that genie back in the bottle. That is just the way it works now. How do you regulate that? You can't. It is a monster. The monster exists now, and I don't see any way to slay the monster. The people need to be the ones to self-regulate the information that they want to intake. That's what it is. People, unfortunately, are going to be inclined to accept what they're reading, hearing, taking in one way or another because it's just easier to do that. Most people are not going to generally dig any deeper, and even if they wanted to, it's not that easy to do so. And this
I'm
is something
agreeing
we've
with you,
talked about a
Tony.
lot.
Well, but wait, that's an issue with the people, though, because if the people are all getting their information from social media platforms where social media platforms
Thank you,
can
Chase.
decide what they can or can't see, then obviously, like, they probably should not be getting their information from those social media platforms. They should be getting it from the news outlets. They should be getting it from the sources themselves. Twitter is not a news publisher, and so for you to feel like they have
No,
some
they're not. So they
obligation
shouldn't be
to
silencing
give you.
stories about laptops either.
Well, no, they shouldn't. They have no responsibility one way or the other. It's not like it doesn't matter
Yet
one
they
way or
took
the
the
other
initiative.
because they're not a news publisher.
I mean,
That's
if you
not
wanted
who
to
they are.
get-
That
if you wanted to get
happens to be
creative,
where
I mean,
people
they
get
use
their
government
information.
subsidized
But
bandwidth.
again, that's an issue with the people who are getting their information from a biased source.
I mean, if you want to get creative, their bandwidth is taxpayer subsidized very heavily. So you could actually make the argument that they're more of
Wait
a
a
public
minute. No.
utility. than
I
a-
Their
want to
bandwidth.
get back to
Wait,
what Tony
no,
said in the
hold
first
on.
place.
I
One
can't let him
really
get away with the
autistic
technical issue.
issue.
I'm sorry. Hold on. Hold on.
no,
I'm
I
sorry.
have a-
Are you
I've
saying that
had
the
a
bandwidth that
technical
these
issue.
companies use is not taxpayer
Fine,
subsidized?
I'll let it ride.
Some of it is
Give everybody a
subsidized.
chance.
Yes.
Some of it is
I'll let you
subsidized.
cook. I'll let you cook. I'm just
So,
curious.
so like if you're Netflix or Twitter or whatever, you have direct pipelines into the ISPs and into the backbones. Yes, you do. But you as the customer are also paying for that bandwidth, right? On the other side.
And
No.
we're being taxed that whole way, and who built
Yeah.
all that along the way, and who built
Wait,
it was
why
our
do-
tax dollars
wait,
that
why
built
do-
the
wait.
Internet of Things
Right,
that
right,
we
right,
have
right.
now, and it's those
Wait,
people
hold
whose
on,
tax
hold on,
dollars
hold on.
went out there are now being banned from the internet
Don't
that
they
they helped
subsidize
build.
farmers, oil companies, everything?
It's the same as anybody
I'm
else
trying
or
to stop any
anything else.
motherfucker from eating any of my food. I want everybody to eat my fucking food.
All right, they want everybody to eat
Like,
their
I'm
internet.
not trying to do. I'm not trying to be a Twitter dick with my food here.
God damn it, Phil. Jesus Christ. It's the same shit. They want them to eat their internet. They need more Twitter in their lives because who knows why. I think we need
the
to.
internet
I mean,
was a
no,
military
here's the hot
protocol.
take. I think we should ban all social media. If you want to say something, I think you should build your own websites like it's 2005. That's what you should do.
Back to GeoCities. Let's go.
GeoCities, yes.
Actually,
Fuck
speaking
yes.
of
Let's get our
Tom,
Geos
do
on the
you
phone.
still have your private
Angel
website?
Fire.
No, not anymore. No.
I was going to use you as a shining example of what Osiris just talked about.
No, I got rid of it. Destiny still has his though. He's like I think most of his views come through his website these days.
Sorry, Lethy, what did you have? I know you wanted to retort something.
Oh, because you started with reporting on the topic of the lady that got burned for the coffee. It was acknowledged that they were serving the coffee extremely hot and the lids weren't exceptionally good. And this lady had to get skin graft on skin graft. She went through excruciating pain and medical costs, and she only sued for the medical costs of the skin grafts, which were extremely expensive. So should the public not know about something like this, even though it sounds stupid in this case? It
The
seems
details
frivolous.
matter. Intent
The
matters,
details
too.
matter. So in the case of the Hunter Biden laptop, it seemed really stupid, but there were no facts. In this case, there were facts.
So you should find them. And you shouldn't
Yes.
shouldn't prevent people from trying to find those facts.
Nobody
they essentially
prevented
did.
anyone. They just said, hey, just a heads up, if you see this, scrutinize it harder than you would scrutinize normal things.
No, they did block the one story. There's one story that got blocked from one publisher. That was it.
You just said
Why was it
details
blocked?
matter. You
Why
just
was it
said
blocked?
details matter, yet people were being silenced when sharing the article. Again, Chicken was fucking banned on Facebook.
Yeah, that was the thing.
He had YouTube videos
and all the
down.
dick pics and all those pictures were
There it
also,
is.
They
It
were
wasn't
banned
just
too.
dick pics. It
It
was
wasn't the dick
spreading
pics.
the
I didn't
spread.
say that.
They
Hold on,
were
wait, wait,
trying to
Stop,
stop
stop.
the spread.
I didn't say that. I didn't say
Well,
that. I said and the dick pics were also.
Well, so
This is
the
what I'm trying to
issue
figure
was
out.
the
Was
issue
it
was
considered hack materials?
yes, it was hacked materials and there was private information in there from with email addresses and stuff.
There you go.
I don't think they need to share. Like, look, the information, what's on there, the fucking revenge porn pics, whatever. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit about anything. I don't care who he's fucking. I don't care what drugs he's doing. I really don't care, especially because he was in another country when he was doing it. So it double doesn't give a fuck.
I encourage.
It's not
Let's
that.
do it.
It has
I'm
nothing to
asking
do with
you
that. It's
if-
his connection to his father that I actually care about, and I want to know about those things before the election because yes, absolutely, that should absolutely.
So you're talking about
be
the
information.
Ukrainian deal and all that stuff, right?
I'm talking about
All the
anything
money
that we're
deals that
talking
were hidden
about
in the
in
laptop.
relation to the guy that was actually running for presidency of the United States.
But you
And
like
we were
I don't
actually
know. I'll look into
silencing
that.
the story. The details of the story. We were labeling it Russian disinformation. That is a detail.
But
That
you
is a
don't
huge
like-
chunk of the story. And it wasn't Russian disinformation. And we could talk about it being hindsight. Doesn't matter. Oh, we didn't know then. But you made the assumption, you made the generalization, you said it has the earmarks. Like it or not, that is at least insinuating to people that if you see this story, take it with a grain of salt. Fine,
So
take it with a
again,
grain
I
of
asked the
salt.
both of y'all.
No, scrutinize
Sure,
it.
but it was
Oh,
also them who verified
Tiberius,
the
don't
freaking
worry.
laptop.
Nobody has a
It
telescope
was
or
also
microscope
them
that
who
powerful.
verified it and said, yes, this story is real and this is a real laptop and the information that you're getting from it, the pictures, the emails, all of these things are real. They verified all of that as well. They made sure that we knew it was real. They did both.
You know who said that? Big Buck and Empire.
Oh, yes. We were one of the first to say the Hunter laptop was real.
But you
and we
didn't
were censored,
verify
and we
it.
got the censorship
You
fucking
did not
cancel
verify
culture
it.
marks.
The FBI did. The FBI did verify it.
If you're right,
And the
for all the
CIA
wrong
lied about it.
reasons,
Who would have thought that
What did they lie?
detectives would get to the bottom of it and the spies would lie?
When did they lie about it?
The CIA?
Yeah.
When they said it was Russian disinformation.
They didn't say that. They didn't
Oh
say that.
yeah, you're gonna play pretend.
All right.
No, I'm not playing pretend.
You actually kind of are. Because
you
no,
are
that was the
choosing to be
exact
inaccurate.
fucking headline the Politico was used. That
We're
was
not
used
talking
for
about Politico.
everybody.
If you
That
wanna
was
say
how
that's
it
what
was reported
Politico said,
to
then that's
everybody,
fine.
and
But
that was
you did
how
not
the
say that's what
consequences
Politico said.
were
You said that's what the
inflicted on anybody
CIA
that
said
tried to spread
because
this
you're
story,
lying.
Tom.
You
You
know
don't
you're
have to
lying.
like it,
You're
but
gonna
this is what
continue to
happened.
lie
You can
because
play
you know
pretend
that you
now
can't
after
actually
the
tell the
fact,
truth.
but
If
that
you
is
told
what
the truth,
happened.
your entire thing
You're just
would
playing
fall
pretend
apart.
now. I'm sorry, Tom, but that is indeed what happened.
Tom, you can't win. He's gonna go longer than you. Though.
I am the king of filibusters.
Oh no, Tom's missed that.
I was about to say, Tom, we missed you around here. God bless Jesus Christ.
That happens at least once or twice every time we're on the show.
I was about to say, Osiris, Lethe, you're just, well, thank you, Tiberius. At least you're finally catching the score around here.
Let's Phil.
Now, all right, folks, this is a part of the show where with everything we're talking about here, the Hunter Biden laptop story and everything, this is on hazard analysis where everybody, as a closing statement on this, you get to state what do you think is the hazard going forward involved in this story, and what is your closing analysis? So we kind of give you a twofer for a closer.
You get to say it uninterrupted.
I know. I will actually not interrupt you. Like Tom, I swear for you. Wow, you didn't have to pay for it either, Lethe. Tom, I swear to you, during your hazard and analysis, I will even mute my mic for you. So, like that is a very rare indulgence indeed. So, let's see. T, who should we have go first for the hazard going forward? And Osiris, you've been here the longest this evening. So, and you've been here in this glorious arena of hazard analysis. What do you think is the hazard going forward with the Hunter Biden laptop story and everything connected to it, and your final closing analysis, sir?
Well, as I stated before, I think the hazard is social media companies and how they choose the stories. I sympathize with you guys' position and what gets covered and what doesn't get covered. I understand that. I 100% get that. The problem is nobody knows where that line is, and then no matter where you draw that line, you're gonna have angry ass people. I think the federal government should step in and at least make some rules, not iron fist this shit, but make at least some rules. And you got one or two ways to go about this. You can either, and this is the analysis part, you can either go towards the free speech part and let people say what the fuck they want to say. But I'm gonna tell you that social media company won't get advertisers, they won't get paid, and it's gonna be a shit show. But if you like shit shows and wallowing in the mud, hey, go for it. And then the other side, you have to have some type of consistent monitoring and moderating of information. That's what's gonna piss people off. I don't think there is an answer for that. I don't think we can create an answer for that. It's a human problem, right? And the problem with that human problem is that for 100,000 years, humans could only talk to another human, or maybe even make a telephone call in the last 100 years, and it's limited. But now you can talk to thousands, tens of thousands, a million people at a time, and that makes the effect outsized, and we have no way of dealing with that.
All right, excellent. Lethe, what is the hazard and the analysis, sir?
The hazard seems to be the overwhelming feeling of privilege we have to have information that 40, 50, 60 years ago, we would never even have an inkling of. We would only get on the 6 or 7 channels on our dial TV to get any information, where we wouldn't have the levels of random information going around right now. So companies and the news media have a greater responsibility with all the information flying around to keep people protected. And the hazard I'm seeing is that possibly with this whole Hunter Biden laptop thing, at some point they may bust into my house because of something I said here in these spaces that made someone suspect, and break into my equipment without any sort of warrant or real lawful reason to get into my information and publish it. Just like what happened with Pizzagate, where someone broke into a pizza place with a shotgun because they were afraid of something. Someone may do that to me and go through my personal information, and all of a sudden that's public knowledge. So I would hope that corporations take the responsible step to vet information that they deem to be suspect before putting it out to everybody else, especially possible hacked information, because I wouldn't want my materials being put out unlawfully.
Alrighty. Tom, what do you think is the hazard going forward, and your closing analysis on this particular topic, sir?
The hazard is obviously misinformation. That is the biggest fear. That is the biggest problem. We can't have a democracy if misinformation is being spread. We can't have people vote if they don't know what it is they're voting on. We can't have an informed citizens. We can't have informed citizens if they don't know the information that they're using to vote on something. It's like when, someone says, hey, the CIA said X, and then when you say, well, when did they say that? They say, well, Politico said X. Or when they say, that that Trump's, tweets got blocked, when really they got like a little tag at the bottom of them. Or they say that, Blinken said this thing when Blinken never said the thing at all. There's, the New York Post that continues posting things. The, Wall Street Journal finally admits the laptop story is real. They never denied it. They've been like following it the entire time. All they did was just say that the FBI confirmed it. But they'll do this with every newspaper when they come out and say that that the FBI confirmed it. Oh, they're finally acknowledging that it's a real thing. Nobody could have known that it was a real thing until it was confirmed. But they're all willing to just push as much misinformation as possible just to make sure that everybody's heads explode in the meantime, and they get a lot of clicks. And it's the incentives there are problematic for free and fair election.
Alrighty. Tony, do you want to go first, or you want me to go?
Yeah, I'll go. The hazard is pretty simple. It's that we're never going to be given the full story on anything ever, regardless of where that information is coming, because frankly, the truth is going to be too damaging to the people who don't want it to be heard. And that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle they sit on. It just doesn't. But it is very telling when specific ways of manipulation of information being released to the general public are being persuaded one way over the other, that the fans of one are not as upset about it as the fans of the other. And that's just going to be the way that it is. Again, this is the monster. There's no way to slay it now. It's just going to get worse before it gets better. We're at the age of social media being more important to information being spread about politicians and political information than the news outlets, because over the last couple of years, especially during the COVID debacle, people have begun to trust the news less and less and less and less, and it's basically become a meme at this point. So, like it or not, people are getting a lot of the information from social media, because that's where the news outlets are being shared, on social media. Nobody's sitting around, well, people are sitting around watching Fox News, watching CNN, but a lot of the articles are being shared via social media. And a lot of the talking points are being echoed on social media. And a lot of fake profiles are echoing those exact same things, whether it be a person based in Russia spreading a fake rumor for the Republicans, whether it be some fucking lunatic like JoJo from Jurors on Twitter spreading lefty propaganda with the blue check mark and people just lapping it up like a cat at the milk tray. It's insane. The information is going to be there regardless. It's just a matter of, now I know private company censorship is up to them, right? But at the same time, free speech still exists. So where do you draw the line? Where do you end that connection? And we saw a lot of that coming with the Elon Musk stuff. He exposed a lot of that corruption coming from one of the big ones. Now, I'm not like an Elon Musk simp boy, but I do like to know that these things did happen. These things did exist. These things are happening. It's verifiable. We've had these assumptions for a long time, especially as live stream podcasters. We're being silenced a lot. We're being favored less than other people who are saying other things. I don't like being silenced, and I don't like having other people silenced. I think everybody should have their voice being able to be heard if they want it to be heard, as long as it's within the parameters of being a decent human being. That's where I draw the line. If you can't be a decent human being, folks, just maybe you don't need to be heard. And if you don't know what I'm talking about being a decent human being, well, it's not that hard to figure out. So the hazard is that if we're going to pick and choose what we want to let out there in the public eye, I think it's always going to be a slippery slope, and it's never going to be fair. It's never going to be 50-50. It's just not. You can't slay that beast. You just can't. But you can do it as an individual. Understand the information that you're being given is going to be pushed one way or the other. Look at it from as many perspectives as you can and try to deviate the solution from there. That's the only suggestion I can make. And the analysis is very simple. Social media is not going anywhere, and it's just going to get more and more plastered all over our everyday lives. It's going to be ingrained within our very own bodies. And unfortunately, that's probably not going to be beneficial to people trying to figure out how they should lean politically, how they should vote, how they should think. In fact, that's probably the scariest portion of it. So when it comes to deciding who you want to vote for, take all the information you can, but also try to remember where it's coming from.
Well, folks, the hazard is one that we've been wrestling with since the trial and death of Socrates. Who is to decide? Who is to decide what is fit for you to read, what is fit for you to know, what is fit for you to discuss, what is fit for you to consider? Because we've had somebody say that we can't have democracy with disinformation. We have had disinformation since we left Babylon, and we have still been able to have democracy thrive. What we cannot survive, what no democracy, no republic can truly survive, is information being curated in favor of those in power. If that is what happens, then we don't truly have a democracy. We don't truly have anything other than the Kingdom of Oceania from 1984. So that is the true hazard. The final closing analysis is we are eventually going to have to decide how much leeway and how much sway social media has over our political process. They've already demonstrated the fact that they're in it, and they're not going to get out unless they're coaxed out one way or another. So, folks, like I've always said, the one thing that our species needs more than anything, just like the separation of church and state was one of the greatest achievements of our species, we also need a separation of science and politics. We also need a separation of law enforcement and politics, and eventually we're going to need a separation of social media and politics. Science and politics is the most important for our species, but eventually we're going to have to find a way to make all of these separations. Our very species is at stake. And with that, I yield.
You didn't say church.
Church and state?
Yes.
Yeah, well, yeah, the separation of church and state is one of the greatest ideas of our species in a long
Just
time.
don't do it.
Oh, you can go to church. There's many marvelous people that go to church.
I know a lot of people that I know a lot of pimps that go to church because they're always saying church, and I don't know why. You know what I'm saying?
I know a lot of
I
churches that are
think
shilling
they're
for
not going to an actual church. I think they're going somewhere else.
Yeah, and yet the Westboro
Take me
Baptist
to
exists,
church.
So, gross.
So, well, gentlemen, Tony, what is the next topic du jour this evening?
All right, so we've got they kind of go hand in hand, but let's start here. I don't think this will be nearly as I hope it's not
Contentious?
nearly as contentious, but
That sounds like a challenge, Tony. All right, Tom.
I wasn't meant to be. Phil, it wasn't meant to be a challenge. Don't
Start
take it as a
stretching,
challenge.
Tom.
No, don't do it. Get along.
I'm terrified.
Have you met us while watching a conversation about us?
Not happening.
I want everybody to hug each other. Oh, come on. I make my kids hug each other when they have a disagreement. Like it works, all right? All right, so
Let's go. Get through the introduction so we can fight faster.
Fuck, I'm getting it
Thank
working.
you, Tom.
Guys, and
Jesus.
I'm
Tony's just like,
yeah,
shit.
you're right. I'm sorry. Dan's producer
Tony, refresh.
And I'm on screen tonight.
Why
And
did you do
apparently
this
I'm
every
running off
time he
my
gives
old-
topics?
I'm going to.
Yep, Tony's
right? It's horseshit.
Yep.
I think it's the sharing
Phil,
of
you
the
read it.
screen that
If it ever
uses a
pops
lot
up.
more bandwidth, and so
Well,
when he
it's
shares
probably-
the screen, it causes problems.
It's also probably the fact that all of his children are on some sort of tablet at the moment.
I think it depends on the website too. That one
It's
website with all the
fuck
weird ass
my life.
advertisements.
Ew.
You're getting your bandwidth sucked up by stupid advertisement and automatic videos.
Yeah, you really need like anything to block this shit. Like I'm seeing all your
So let me give you 2 recommendations.
you know where you go on Pornhub.
You need to go, especially that. uBlock and AdBlock. Load them both on your Chrome and experience life without advertisements. All right.
All right. Tony, are you back? Can you hear us?
I'm gonna refresh real quick.
Okay, you do that.
Here comes the
now,
Pornhub link.
it's like, we're talking about the Fox Dominion thing. Well, guys, good night.
I think I make Osiris smoke.
Fucking with
But
you.
yeah, for real, Phil. Like, dude, how much does that hurt? How much crow is that for a lot
Well,
of people?
actually, not funny enough. I'm just gonna let y'all what's the crow I'm eating here exactly? Curious.
No, not you. I'm saying the public that believed in the election fraud lies that Fox News was saying, but not believe in their own emails. They were reporting news they themselves did not believe in order to maintain their cash flow. How much crow
More
is that
evidence
for the
that-
people that cited Fox News?
Now-
the crow pie is gigantic.
To
It will
get
feed an
very
African
technical
village.
here, if you look even in Dominion's complaint, not once does the word lie or the allegation of a lie ever come out of Dominion's complaint in regards to Fox News. What their
now he
complaint
knows the
hang on,
difference between a lie
What-
and
well, no,
getting something wrong.
actually, the complaint was not about either. Actually, it was amplifying. That was actually the complaint. They said you were amplifying somebody else who was saying something we disagree with. So Fox, because they understood, all right, if we just settle this out of court, because let's be frank, everybody wants to get out from under a judge. There ain't nobody that's ever had to face a judge that says, I'd like to spend more time in front of here. Bullshit. Anybody says no, hadn't been in front of a judge in a while. Osiris, tell me you ain't been in front of a judge in a while. Without telling me you ain't been in front of a judge in a
It's
while.
not about the judge. It's about all the
copiums and
other
the
side
bangs.
effects too, the ripple effects that this has.
Yes.
Because
It changes news if that goes to trial.
No, hold on. Because if it is true, and Fox doesn't want, and they want to just bury it, then they'll lose advertisers.
Can we get the introduction of the story before we all start arguing about this?
go
I gotta.
Come on,
Tom,
Tony.
we were
Tony,
Can we wrangle these cats?
Tony, are you ready yet?
I hope so. I'm working off my Wi-Fi because my kids apparently like chewed through my Ethernet cable like a fucking pack of mice. I don't know.
done.
So
that's amazing.
Yeah, my Ethernet cable's not working properly, so I'm running off Wi-Fi. I apologize. I hope I'm not terribly choppy.
I just have to say,
So-
I've had 7 kids. I haven't even experienced that one. That's a new one to me. I'm gonna have to get my kids to chew through my Ethernet so I can
look
be on,
forward to it. It's
be on
fun.
your thing.
I'm assuming they chewed through it. I
Yeah,
can't
okay.
confirm or deny. That might be Russian disinformation.
Oh wait, now that I see the name, okay, I know who Osiris is. Okay, sorry, I didn't recognize you until I saw the name. Okay, my bad.
You've been on here for a minute, man.
And I've been
Osiris is
familiar with your
amazing.
latest pieces of work with Laugh and all kinds of shit going on.
Oh, you
very
doing
entertaining
that
stuff.
shit?
Very entertaining.
So
Oh,
yeah, I have
Lord
a hate
almighty.
vote
We've been
for
putting
Mr.
in
Girl,
work.
So that's my only issue. Lav, I could care less, but I have a hate boner for Mr. Girl.
Went from a 10 viewer Andy to averaging 100 concurrent viewers right now. So
not bad.
Congratulations.
It's glad to see you're actually hitting your stride, Tom. And it's like, because there was about a year there, you did fucking brute force streaming, and it took a while, but you got there, man. So I'm actually glad to see it for you, sir.
Congratulations.
Yeah, but like now, who would have thunk that internet drama might work? So let me tell you about a couple of them no good so-and-sos. Oh, right here, Tom. No good so-and-so.
I think everybody knew me pissing people off was gonna be my my path to victory the entire time. Just being smug and just putting my head down and giga chatting my way through. I think who would have known?
Just smirk your way through it.
Friend.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Tony,
all right.
No, actually, hang on.
We stop
if he wants me to fight, we'll meet in the cage. We'll donate all proceeds to charity. It'll be a charity MMA fight. I like it.
We'll advertise it as what's his name's Back from the Dead.
General Tiberius.
Wait. Did you guys see? Did you guys see that
Chris
Wings
Farley? We'll say Chris Farley is back from the dead, and he's doing a cage fight. And
no, wait. Did you guys see Wings of Redemption versus Boogie's 29 whatever the fuck it is his name? The advertisement says 800 pounds, one ring. You guys got to do that one.
All right, Tony's got bandwidth for about 30 seconds. We got to.
I think we wasted all my refresh.
Sorry, my bad. Let's go.
All right, so this is coming from MSNBC, and I mostly picked that just to make Phil like
lies and information. Lies.
Well, Fox News Dominion sentiment critics, what you might not know. Earlier this week, Fox News financially paid a price for years of spreading lies and misinformation at a $787.5 million. It was, to put it mildly, an extraordinarily expensive lesson to settle the lawsuit brought by Dominion Voting Systems over false allegations of fraud related to the 2020 election. Fox will pay one of the largest monetary settlements ever in a defamation case. Some critics of the agreement, however, are publicly wondering whether Fox really learned its lesson. Rupert wins again, declared Politico media critic Jack Schaefer in a reference to Fox Corp. Chairman Rupert Murdoch, while $787.5 million is nothing to sneeze at, Fox News has more than $4 billion in cash on hand. So it's not as if it can't afford to pay Dominion. Okay, sidebar. Why does that matter? Why does the fact that they have $4 billion in cash on hand matter?
It matters because they could have took this to suit. They could have took this to suit and then not gone broke. They could have actually, if they cared about it, they could have done it.
The price tag's the price tag.
Right, no, but the reason that they settle is because they were just about to start having like opening statements and everything, and if they actually went through the hearings and everything, they could have lost a lot more.
There was more discoveries to come, and they just decided, Tony, remember watching This Is Spinal Tap, and when they were talking about how the one drummer died, and the blonde guy goes, the authorities thought it was just best if that remained unsolved. And so, it's everybody talks a bunch until they're Tiberius. Okay, all right, let it just be noted who blinked first. But
Damn.
Oh, brutal.
But propose a handicap.
I'll give him all the
No,
judging.
we're on the article now, Phil. We're on the article.
Wrangle the cats, Tony. Wrangle the cats.
It's impossible. I had no joke. I had 4 or 5 stories one night, and we got through fucking one of them because it just turned into the fucking part 2 of Truth and Fiction.
Well, let's do it. I have to
These
go to
two
bed,
fuckers could
20.
not back down from each other.
We should make them live together and make a TV show of it. We'd make
Jesus Christ.
We'd make millions.
I'm only here on a Sunday because it's KOE. Isn't this the Lord's Day? Let's get through this.
Oh, yes.
All right. Article continues. Indeed, even in announcing the agreement, Fox continued to gaslight and acknowledge the court's rulings, finding certain claims about Dominion to be false, but it asserted that the settlement reflects Fox's continued commitment to the highest journalistic standards. Sorry, that's funny. The latter applied to Fox News.
That ain't good. Tony's a pretty moderate normie motherfucker. If he's laughing, that hurt more than anything else through this. Tony laughing right there. That actually. Jesus, that's
The latter clause, when it applied to Fox News, is akin to throwing the irony into a pit of acid. While it's easy to sympathize with the frustrations over the settlement, it's hard to see how a public apology or contrition would change the cult-like hold that Fox News has on its viewers. Now, to be completely fair, Fox isn't the only one with a cult-like following. After all, they don't tune into the network because they want to get fair and balanced news and information.
I gotta say something about the irony of this article. Talking about Fox's fair and balanced non-existence while also being not fair or balanced in this article. Just
right.
saying.
Yeah. No, that's cracking me up. Like
it is MSNBC kind of like, yeah.
Blatantly biased.
What the
It's
fuck?
it's a dunk. It's a dunk all day.
Well, remember how much
that's
Fox
fair.
dunked
They
on
got the
MSNBC
bad
when Rachel Maddow had to say, yeah, don't take everything I say seriously. I'm an entertainer. And oh, they dunked on MSNBC for months. And so this is MSNBC. Like, hey, Tony, I've always said turnabout's fair play. MSNBC, you get this one.
I'm gonna
respect that, Phil. I respect that, Phil. Finally, that's really
Yeah.
good of you.
You know, hey, turnabout's fair play. You know, like they talked mad shit when Rachel made those admissions in court. So it's like, yeah, MSNBC kind of gets to get a few pot shots in.
So this paragraph I'm mostly going to skip. The reason the case emerged is because this is when Trump was likely going to lose the re-election bid, and Fox correspondents wanted to correct Trump's repeated mistruths about the election, blah, blah, blah. Then they take pot shots at Newsmax and One America to get their daily falsity fix. They found other, even less scrupulous media outlets, blah, blah, blah. MSNBC is absolute
that is some great English
garbage.
lit.
Response at Fox was swift and predictable. When the channel's election team called Arizona for Joe Biden, Fox News CEO Suzanne Scott railed, not rallied, against those responsible for failing to protect Fox's brand. When White House correspondent Jacqui Henrich fact-checked a tweet by Trump spreading election lies, star host Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity demanded that Fox fire her. More just railing it. So this is just getting less and less and less fair and balanced, but you get the gist.
Fair and balanced.
Yeah.
So Fox is paying a lot of fucking money.
Lethe's like, fuck you, fair balance, I'm out. I can't even
This is why you should write news stories and put them online with the sources and cite your sources, or at least as clear as you can, and you don't have these problems. Just wildly putting shit out there in the ether is cancerous.
It's not even that. It wasn't wild. That's the entire thing, is that there is tons of evidence of them talking about it in the background, saying that they don't even believe in the stuff that they were saying about Dominion. They have emails, they have phone call recordings, they have text messages of like Tucker Carlson, Hannity, even Rupert Murdoch, all saying that they don't believe any of these things. They have, and still to this day, as far as I know, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but last I checked, Fox still has not retracted any of the stuff that they put out about Dominion. Still to this minute, they don't have to as far as the settlement goes. They have to as far as being a credible news source. Yes, they need to retract that. Yes, of course they do.
Now, I gotta say, Tiberius says Phil is more fair and balanced than Fox. Like, are you feeling okay? Is your like, you might need to go back to the doctor.
I already popped it up. We don't have to spend 5 minutes on it.
That's because Alex Jones broke after getting. Like, I was about to say, like, the reason that Dominion didn't go after Alex Jones is because he already owes $850 trillion to the Sandy Hook families forever and ever. And like, I think like this is like one of those, the debt goes 3 generations. Like, even your grandchildren have to pay this debt. So like,
yeah, in perpetuity.
Yeah, it's just one of those like, hey, Lethe, welcome back. So yeah, that's why they didn't go after
still
Alex
hurt,
Jones.
by the way.
Oh, it hurt. It hurt. Not as much as me. Like that was painful for me. Like Toys and Fox fair and balanced. I'm like, oh, that's pain. That's Republican.
We know
pain.
the 3 major. I think the news networks are pretty fair. It's the 24 hours, 7 days a week news networks that they're that arm of those news networks that are not.
Local news is
no. Even CNN, if you look through CNN, Fox, and NBC or MSNBC or whatever, if you look through the bulk of their articles, they're pretty fair. most of the articles, if you go to their websites,
Compared to who?
No. I'm not talking about the TV stuff. I'm not talking about
That's
the
a good
TV
question.
stuff. I'm talking about if you go to their websites and actually read actual news articles, they're mostly good by good journalists.
Are you gonna include MSNBC in that? Because what I just read was a bunch of grade A horse shit.
I don't know. No, that's why I was laughing at it, because that's not typical. That is
No,
bullshit. That was
that
a
was
bullshit
awful.
article. That was 100% bullshit article.
That's how most articles sound to Republicans. Now you know how a far right wing person reads most mainstream news. Like,
And
it's like, this is bullshit. What about this shit? God damn it! Like,
I'd just like to point out that CNN throughout the entire Russiagate thing ended up firing 16 different journalists over over getting things wrong. Some of them like small little things on the Russiagate stuff. They got it wrong and got fired fairly quickly, and tons of retractions came out. They didn't have to get sued. They didn't have to give a settlement on this one, at least with the Sandman stuff they did. But although they retracted the Sandman stuff before anyways, but either way, like this is insane that a news outlet would go this far and still not retract the story while losing lawsuits, while emails and text messages and everything's coming out proving that they knew they were lying. They are still refusing to retract the story. This is just that to me is the biggest story right now.
I want to agree with Tom, but I want to reduce it. It's what all the manosphere, the red pill, all these other wonderful people are talking about: accountability. Take accountability for your fuck ups.
Well, yeah,
that's what Tom is saying. So
that's what I agree with.
It's an industry practice for if you get a story wrong in the news, and I believe that the majority of journalists are good journalists. If you actually go and read actual journalism and not the headlines, not the top thing on the top of the CNN website or whatever's on TV, you'll find that most of the journalists are doing good work. When they fuck something up, they'll retract it, apologize for it, and put in the new information. That's how journalism is supposed to work.
But the general attention span of the public, they're only going to read that headline.
I know.
Well, and then on top of that, the Smartmatic, I believe, is also going to sue them as well. So it's
that one's not going to go the same way. They may as well just not do that.
But same with the president or the ex-president and the document scandal. Had he taken accountability, given up the documents the same as Pence did, the same as Biden did, the same as every other politician, has just said, yeah, come take them, rather than, but they're mine. Maybe we wouldn't be here.
We're about
to take accountability.
Here's the thing. Biden, though, was negligent with his documents. He didn't even know where they were. Trump knew exactly where they were. They were under lock and key. No, I'm sorry. Biden, they were behind his fucking Corvette in his garage. He didn't even know them. He admitted to not knowing they were there. And so that is him being negligent with national security. That is worse than anything Trump is even accused of.
Phil, I literally said that earlier. A lot of times these public officials have documents that they're not supposed to have, and they don't even know they have them, or it's an accident that they have them. It got put in with some other documents. Literally, I said that earlier. That is happening all the fucking time. It is normal in the federal government for that to happen. I think what the argument is, I'm not saying this. The argument for Trump is he knew he had them, and he then was told that he had them.
That's
said to give them back, and he's like,
"That's the thing. It's not even that. It's that he was told to give them back and refused. That was the issue. So like, it's similar to like with Hillary, where she's told
with Bill
like
Clinton, where he purged himself, and he said, "Hey, I had sex with the you had sex with the girl? No, I didn't have sex with the girl. I got head from the girl. You're using
when that dress came
minutia. You're minutiaing the conversation."
Well, no, because Trump knew where these documents were at all time. Biden did not. So that's being negligent with national security, which is actually worse. Why did Trump get raided?
Because he refused to give them back. What do you mean?
Here's the thing. A lot of people don't know that Trump, actually, any president, unilaterally declassify any information they want to, and they don't even have to inform anybody per an executive order signed by President Obama.
That is not true.
So that is absolutely true.
No, it is
Yes,
not true.
absolutely it is.
No, it
The
is not.
president does not have to sign off or inform anybody when they want to declassify information.
No, you are just wrong. You are just wrong here.
Absolutely,
you are just wrong.
Everybody, the audience will find everything I said is quite verifiable.
No, it
and
is
so,
not.
like, no, you just don't want, because if that's the case, then Obama's been in violation of this law. Biden was vice president and a senator. He never even had
violation of law.
clear to get this kind of information. So at that point, he's violating any numerous amounts of laws.
Okay, so it's not true that they don't. It's not true that they don't have to get permission from anybody else. It does have a verification process that it has to go through that Trump did not go through, but Obama did go through this. I don't think Biden went through it, but there is a process. After you say that they are declassified, you do have to go through a process of making sure that they can be declassified.
Or you can do this. This is what a president can do. He can just merely utter it out of his mouth. That makes it declassified.
It still has to go through the process, though. It's not, again, it is not automatically declassified.
I'm not familiar with that.
Things have, so listen, as far as like it being so, yes, you are correct. Like he says it's declassified, it is so that it is declassified. But in order for it to actually, on paper, be declassified.
He has to say the information.
Well,
once he says that information, the president, that makes it declassified.
Well, to both of you, I'm asking, does it need to be published? Like something he said on live or something that was published in media for it to be declassified?
No, he has to say it out of his mouth. So if I said Phil KOE has a American flag behind him and that's declassified information, and I'm the president of the United States, it's declassified now. That's
but
how
I'm
that
asking
works.
to one person or to the media, like if there was one person in the room and he said something classified to that person, is it now declassified? Or does they have to say it where it is published? That's what I'm saying. Is it published? Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
At that point,
I didn't know what you meant by published. Sorry, I didn't.
Yeah. Anyways, on top of that, Trump did deny that he had the documents at first. Then they kept saying, "No, you have them. We need them." Then he finally said, "Okay, we have them," and then said, "Okay, we'll give them back to you," but didn't give them back, and then didn't give them back, and then didn't give them back. It's not insane that he eventually got raided. It's crazy that it took so long for him to get raided.
Over a year, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, now this is just one lawyer's opinion on the Hill, but lacking any written record, the former president's claim is seen as typical Trump, just winging it when it comes to asserting presidential powers. That none of his lawyers have advanced this argument in court reaffirms the opinion that most should not be taken seriously. But it would be wrong to simply dismiss Trump's assertion. It is an issue that is in danger of falling through the cracks. Presidents have long claimed the authority to classify material by dint of president being the nation's chief executive and commander-in-chief, the only official vested under Article 2 of the Constitution with the executive power. Any other official involved in classifying material does so, it is argued, because the president has delegated that authority to that official. And because the president has the underlying power to classify, he has by implication the unilateral authority to declassify. And so that is very much the argument Trump has put forward.
Arguing
and
that,
so if you wanted the articles back, we knew exactly where they were. There was no reason to have an FBI raid.
No,
really, they were fishing, hoping to find a bag of Coke or something while they were at it.
What are you talking about?
That's literally. They knew exactly where the documents were. He even cooperated and actually put a lock on that they wanted him to. So he was cooperating with investigators the entire. Yes, he did. He put on a lock that they specified him
multiple times,
and he did so. He was cooperating.
And
so,
if he was cooperating, why didn't he give it back? If he was cooperating, why didn't he give it back?
Shut out of a Supreme Court nomination and a Supreme Court seat.
If he's cooperating, why didn't he give it back?
On the raid, you don't think there's a little appearance of propriety there?
If he's cooperating, why didn't he give it back?
Why didn't he give them back?
Yes. Why didn't he give it back? If he's cooperating, why didn't he give it back?
Because he is saying and asserting that is his property, and why should he give it back? Every president gives things back. Every president keeps things, and so he's saying this is where they are. They knew exactly where they were, and they were still going through a process.
Yes. So say he's not cooperating. Say
I could talk my way into being a named partner of any law firm.
Say he is not cooperating. Say that he is not cooperating because
he actually was cooperating. He actually put on the lock thought that they insisted
hold
on.
on.
They had it under
Brandon said the
Secret
truth.
Service watch, man.
Nobody's
I'm sorry.
asking about
they
that.
were secure.
Stop pivoting.
Period.
You're talking about
Full
something
stop.
different. You're talking about something different, okay?
They were they were completely safe. There was
Talk about
nothing
something
that was
different
going
again.
to happen
Yes.
to these documents.
All of this
Period.
information,
They were under
nobody's
Secret
asking
Service
about.
watch
Nobody's
and
asking
FBI
about
lock
this.
and key.
Nobody's asking about this. Nobody's asking about that. Okay, keep
night,
talking
Rodrigo.
about what nobody's talking about. Okay, what we're asking is if he was cooperating, and they said give it back, you can say okay, well he's not cooperating because he believes that he's correct, but you can't say oh he was cooperating and doing the opposite of what
Did
they
he
told
put a
him
lock
to do.
on that was asked of him? Yes or no?
You realize that's not what I'm
Did he?
asking,
Yes or
right?
it's a yes or no question.
No,
man.
you're refusing to answer my
It's a
question.
yes or no
You
question.
are refusing to answer my
I
question.
just did answer
No,
your
you did
question.
not.
I've given you yeses and nos all night.
No, you
just
did not.
Don't like my
Okay,
prologue
I
epilogue.
no, I will
So
ask
I'm
again then.
asking you.
I will ask again.
Did
No,
he
no, no.
put
I
on a
will ask
lock
again.
that was asked of him? Yes or no?
Yes, he put on a lock. He
Thank you.
cooperated on
That
that
is
thing.
cooperation.
Okay, cool. That
So he was
cooperated
cooperating.
on
Thank
that
you. You
thing.
said it yourself.
Yes,
Thank you.
he cooperated on that thing. Now, when it comes to giving the papers back, when it
The
comes to
process
giving the
wasn't finished.
documents back, that's not what I asked. When it comes to giving the
legal
documents back,
process wasn't
and they
finished.
asked for him to give them back,
Any
did
legal
he
proceeding
cooperate?
The procedure wasn't finished. So
Yes or no?
he
Did
has
he
not.
cooperate?
He's not cooperated with something he's not required to do. No.
Exactly. That's what I said. I said you could say, oh, well, he's not cooperating because he believes that he's correct, but you can't say he's
Something he's not
cooperating
required to
and
do.
doing the
And
opposite
he wasn't
of what
required to put on the lock either, yet he still cooperated.
So the-
sorry,
putting
he
on
was
the lock,
cooperating the
nobody
entire
cares about
time.
the
We knew
freaking
exactly
lock.
where the documents
Nobody
were the
cares about
entire
the
time.
lock.
They were under Secret
Nobody
Service
cares.
observation the entire time. With Biden, we had no such consideration. His crackhead son could have gotten this classified documents, and there's a non-0% chance that he could sell that to the Chinese. So Biden's negligence actually did put our national security in danger, but we're all playing pretend that Trump keeping some of his own presidential souvenir documents has anything to do with national security is really just folks
Bill
who
might
have
be an asshole, but he's not wrong technically.
Hey.
So how did Hunter threaten our national? Let's go back to Hunter Biden. How did he
No.
threaten our national
If
security?
he has access to these national security secrets, and it's already known that he has shady dealings with the Chinese and the Ukrainians, as we found out through the very true Hunter Biden laptop, who he could have very easily sold any of these secrets. And
That's
there's a
right.
non-0% chance that actually happened because he actually listed the residence where Joe Biden had the negligently stored documents. Hunter Biden lists that as one of his residents. So he had full access to national security documents. So I'm sorry, this negligence is worse than anything Trump is even accused of.
That's
okay. Well, that's
Absolutely true, unfortunately.
But the point is, there was multiple times that he was informed that he had documents he should not have, multiple, and then he was asked to give them back. And every president, as far as I know, in the last 20 years or so, maybe longer, has had documents that he shouldn't have, and they usually just give them back because this is normal. Because for some reason, our government's inefficient. Who would have thought? And they don't know how to fucking keep track of all their papers. And they say, "Oh wait, we lost some papers. You please give back the papers." Then they usually give back the papers in a couple months, right? That's normal things. The thing that makes this ridiculous is that Trump had the papers for over a year and a half, and he just wouldn't give them back for whatever fucking reason. And all he had to do was give back the papers, and we could have avoided all of this. This was not no political operative thing. This was
Harlan
just
signed
negligence.
off
There was
on
a negligence
the thing.
at the highest
The guy
degree.
that Trump shafted out of a Supreme Court seat signs off on the FBI raid of his house.
Who else was going to do it? He's the fucking AG.
He should have recused himself. Like, I'm sorry, there is a very big appearance of serious propriety, and he is not seeming like he is being an impartial litigator in this in any way, shape,
If
or
Trump
form.
had
So he
shot
needs
somebody,
to
wait, if
recuse
Trump had
himself,
shot
a lot
somebody
like
on,
Sessions did.
let me ask you this: if Trump had literally shot somebody on Fifth Avenue, and then Garland,
Do you think people would have voted for him then?
no,
That's
I
a
didn't ask you that.
whataboutism.
That's not what I said.
I think
If
you
he
would
had
have.
literally shot somebody on Fifth Avenue right after his presidency.
Oh,
and
you'll vote for
Garland-
Biden even after all these
Hold on,
revelations. I know
and
that.
Garland had signed the papers to have him indicted. Would you say that would you say he was whatever you're saying right now?
Okay, say that again because I was arguing with Tom there.
Okay, so if Trump had shot somebody on Fifth Avenue post being president,
and Garner had to sign the papers to have him indicted, would he be wrong?
Okay, this is objectionable and actionable. This is something that someone's been objectively damaged in some way. Trump holding on to these documents, no one can demonstrate damages. Actually, that's one of the biggest keys of the law is who's been damaged and who can demonstrate damages. In this case, somebody's assaulting and murdering somebody. You can demonstrate very real damages. Somebody keeping a few documents is not anything that you can demonstrate any objective or measurable damages because we can't even decide if they're classified or not because Trump has said that they are declassified. And as we've established, he is the chief classifier. All things flow from his
that's
power.
Not what happened? Some of these were the highest level of classification, meaning they had to be in a skiff. That's what they should have been.
Still declassified them.
No, he can't. They're not declassified because for him to declassify them, he would have had to utter the words that he declassified them. He didn't do that. That didn't happen.
The president has the underlying power to classify, and by that implication has unilateral authority to declassify.
He didn't
because
do
all
it.
power to classify comes through the president.
But he didn't do it.
He doesn't have to tell you or anybody if he decides to declassify.
Yes, he does.
He is the president. He has the unilateral power to declassify. And that you can say no, he doesn't, but that's really up for the courts to decide now.
It is.
You can say no, he doesn't, but in reality, this is going to go to court, and we are going to ultimately find out. Because guess what? No president wants a limit of their power. You are ultimately going to find out that yes, Biden and anybody after him has the unilateral power to declassify.
This was the top secret document that he wouldn't get back.
Where's the marijuana? Where's the weed? I don't believe this. This is fake news.
There we found it.
This is disinformation.
Disinformation. This is obviously Russian disinformation. They don't want us to have our weed. That's what.
That's about the level, though, because like one of them was like the original document of the pardon that he wrote for Roger Stone, and like it's that level of shit. And so
again, nobody's disagreeing on whether or not he has the ability to declassify this. You just keep repeating the same thing that nobody's disagreeing with.
Okay, sweet. He has the power to declassify. We all agree. All is wonderful. All is well.
We're saying he did not declassify.
No, he doesn't have to tell anybody. That's the thing. When you have unilateral authority, no, you don't. Sorry, like under this legal theory that's now being played out in court as we speak, and the judges aren't throwing it out.
Phil, okay,
sorry.
So this is like you saying that like somebody has unilateral ability to run a mile. And then they just stand at the finish line and are like, I ran the mile. And you're like, yeah, they have unilateral authority to run a mile. They're standing there. They have the authority to run a mile.
If
and
your
there
metaphor
they are.
would actually make sense, it would be somebody running a mile without any witnesses.
At the finish line.
Not telling anybody about running the mile. If your silly metaphor would actually make sense, it would be somebody running a mile without anybody watching them.
Nobody.
And that's what Trump did.
Actually ran the mile.
So
though. Like they have to actually
that's what
put on their shoes.
You don't have to tell anybody, inform anybody.
4 times,
as you wish.
And then once they cross the finish line, now they have actually run a mile. But in this case, he didn't actually declassify them. That actually didn't happen.
Yeah, your metaphor didn't quite work. If it were to actually work, it'd be the person running a mile by themselves without informing anybody. They don't have to inform anybody to run the mile, but they did.
That's not what unilateral means, by the way. I don't know where you keep getting this definition from.
Well, if you have the unilateral authority, you don't have to tell, inform, or ask permission.
No, unilateral means you have the power to on one side, but that doesn't mean you don't.
Yes, you don't have to inform or ask anybody's permission.
That doesn't mean the process doesn't have to be respected.
Yes, the process is what matters. Exactly. Yes. It says you can declassify. Declassify is
without
the process.
Anybody questioning you, but you have to go through the process.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Well, if you're doing so unilaterally, you do not have to ask anyone's permission.
Yes, but you have to do the thing.
It's kind of like your rights to keep a bare arm shall not be infringed. I mean, the infringement can be just about anything. I don't have to demonstrate anything in order for my rights to be there.
No,
and so it's very much the same.
But you have
philosophy.
to buy the gun through the process.
Yes, is that if running a mile is the process of running around 4 times, declassifying is the process of actually saying something is declassified and going through the process of declassifying.
It's not unilateral authority, though. Like if I run my business, I don't have to tell anybody if I want to do X, Y, or Z with my property. I don't have to tell a single soul.
You're not answering the question. You realize that,
no,
right?
I'm trying to actually give you an answer that actually works, but you just don't want to believe it because you don't agree with this legal philosophy. That's basically the long and short of it. You don't agree with this legal philosophy, full stop.
No, so what we're saying, he does.
So you do agree with this philosophy that a president can unilaterally declassify something without telling anybody. So you do agree with that.
Yes,
No,
I agree.
no,
Oh, okay.
no.
Okay. So
We're
then you
saying-
don't think the president has unilateral authority. Okay.
No, it doesn't say without telling anybody. It says that they have unilateral authority to do X, but they have to do X in order to do it.
All
They
power
can't-
flows through them.
unilateral.
They
does
don't
not
have
mean,
to tell
And here's the
anybody.
thing, and the X,
That is
I
not
don't have
true.
to tell
You're
anybody
just
to
making
do
that
jack
up.
shit
You
if
are
I want
just
to change
making
something
that
in my
up.
company because I have unilateral authority in my company.
Hold on.
You are literally making that up.
The unilateral.
Oh, actually, I don't.
Hold on.
I'm the owner.
Hold on. The unilateral thing to do X is saying I am doing that thing. That is what declassifying means. I am doing it, and by doing it, he uttered the words. That's what it means. He did never utter those words. He just housed a bunch of papers, and then like, good.
Well, yeah, if they're my own documents, I
They're
can
not his
unilaterally
documents.
take them wherever. No, like I even said, all classification power comes from the presidency, and so he has the same unilateral
They're
power
not
to
his-
declassify
first of all,
without
they're not
telling
his
anybody if he needs to. That is true power. That is true unilateral power.
That's not unilateral power.
Yes, like
no.
otherwise you have to ask someone's permission to do so.
That
is
is
not
no.
unilateral
That's
power.
not what that means. You're
You're
making a false
saying that
dichotomy.
because he has the power to do it, now he doesn't even have to do it in order for it to be
He
done.
does not have
And
to do
that's
it
not-
explicitly.
Yes,
No.
he-
Yes.
No, and that is the legal theory that is underpinning what he's saying. And guess what? It hasn't been thrown out yet because the judges are still considering. He's like, there is some merit here. He does have the unilateral authority, and they don't have to tell anybody when they do these types of things. And so,
You know what? I'm gonna put this on a wait and see table because
Clip it.
I don't think we're winning this one.
don't get me wrong. I accept
he's a
Daniel
very
Extreme is a very persuasive motherfucker.
Yeah,
I'll give you
I'd
that.
love to know what judge is actually sitting there saying that there's actually a point. I have not seen this. I have not heard it. I don't think that actually exists.
I'll be happy to provide it for you later. But folks, here at Hazard Analysis, we are closing in on hour 3. Tony, you got work in the morning, don't you?
Yes, let's hazard an
So-
analysis this topic.
Tom, since you and I have had the most yellings back and forth here, I'm going to let you go first on what is the hazard and the analysis going forward on this particular story, sir.
Yeah, the hazard is that he's just that people have to be held account to the processes that are already in place. This was a problem with his entire presidency. This was the problem through the entire Ukraine scandal, where he is allowed to withhold funds and he is allowed to barter with other countries. He's just not allowed to do it through a quid pro quo, and he has to go through Congress, and he has to make sure that there's like all of the steps are followed. There are processes put in place for all of these things, and over he just doesn't follow the processes, but then says, oh, I have the ability to do this, but he didn't do the thing that he has the ability to do. And so if all of these things depend on the processes, they all depend on the institutions that we're using to uphold this Yes, the institutions that we're using to uphold the entire thing. I can't think of the word I'm trying to say. But anyways, yes, the processes are important, and not following processes is the hazard.
Okay, Lethe Water Kai. What is the hazard and the analysis, sir?
I'm going to say the hazard seems to be not acknowledging the crime and missing the forest for the trees. We have issues going on within our government. Of course, there are lapses and other things. But when someone uses those lapses to try to take advantage of the system, they need to be held accountable. And accountability needs to be something that's important in this country. So that is my prescription in this case, is when you realize that politicians aren't being held accountable, we need to focus on these things. Whether it be in your favor or not, you should want your politicians, and I should want my politicians, to be accountable at the end of the day.
Okay, Osiris, sir.
I'm gonna
the
agree.
hazard. and then the analyticals.
I'm going to pretty much agree with what's already been said. And I think you said this earlier, Phil, that if I don't know if you said this, but I'll say this: if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. If it's good for one side, it's good for the other. If Hillary Clinton had done this thing, they'd have been the Republican Party had been roasting her. They'd be lighting her on fire. There'd be nonstop investigations for 3 years. I don't agree with that. I think we need to have a more expedient process. I think we need to hold our government more accountable, like Lethe said, and we need to focus in on what's right and wrong. And the thing about Trump is, he didn't know this. He came in and he was going to be the bull in the China shop, but he didn't expose what he thought he was exposing, not the drain the swamp shit, but the gentleman's agreement parts, the procedures, the processes, the boring stuff. That boring stuff is what's fundamental of the tethering and intertwining of what America is and how the institutions work together. And he exposed all that, from not hiring cabinet members and State Department members and all these other people to this issue here, where he's like, I have a bunch of things mine. And in the past, usually presidents just usually conform and give it back, do a thing. But it shows that we need to have real rules in place for these things. And I hope that the American government and the institutions and the people realize gentlemen's agreements we're finding good but they're not finding good anymore. Hopefully we can put this and codify this into a law or papers or rules or however we need to do this. I think that's the greatest contribution Trump has ever had, to expose the holes in the United States government.
Interesting. Well, T, if it's all right, I'll go ahead here, and then I'll leave the final words to you, and then we'll get to our marvelous outros of all these beautiful people. The hazard is a politicized law enforcement, where now not only our intelligence agencies, but now our FBI are now picking and choosing sides in the political aisle. That is a hazard, the likes of which this country has never seen. And it's one that I don't know if the Republic can survive it. Because I know a lot of people don't like Trump, but as like I told you the other day, Osiris, he was guilty 6 years ago when he went down the escalator as far as the people suffering from TDS are concerned. He is guilty, show them only the charge. And so now we get to this point where the Biden White House, under direction from Merrick Garland, is now raiding the main political opposition of the person sitting in the current White House office. This is a danger and a hazard that I pray we walk back from, but I fear it will get much, much worse before it gets any better. The final analysis here, folks, is 2024 might be one of the most contentious, tearing families apart elections of our lives. Prepare for it accordingly. And so, Tony, I hand it over to you.
The hazard is pretty simple. It's that we're seeing, more so than ever, on full display, the politicians in the highest of seats being corrupt, being biased, misrepresenting what they strove to campaign on, doing things they should not be doing with the power that they are supposed to have, doing illegal things that they are not supposed to do and they're supposed to be held accountable for. And we're seeing this on full display, and we're only carrying part of the time depending on how we voted. That's the hazard. And it's been on full display for years, especially in this very discussion tonight. We've seen it because we get to pick and choose, because how we prefer to vote, how we prefer to lean on the political compass scale. We know they're doing wrong. We know that they're not doing the things that they're supposed to do. And Yes, things have been exposed. But we're really only caring about the things that we want to care about. The analysis is that we should care wholeheartedly whenever a politician fucks up and does something bad. We should care about him no matter what little letter is next to their name, what color of tie they wear, what side of the aisle they sit on. Hold them all accountable. Hold them all accountable for the big things, for the little things, because they are the ones that ultimately are getting those little percentages taken out of our weekly paychecks. They're the ones that we put into the positions of power. They're the ones that need to be held accountable, yet we're the ones suffering. That's not how it should be. That's not how it was ever meant to be, and yet here we are, squabbling about it. And that's exactly what they want.
Yes. Well, thank you, Tony. Now, folks, as I'm known to say around here, all that being said, thank you for joining us here at Hazard Analysis episode 5, folks. I want to send out the biggest thank yous to Tom Foolery, Lethe Waterkai, and Osiris for coming, lending your acumen here, giving pushback. It was all fun. And every last one of you, welcome back here anytime. Folks, Hazard Analysis on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe. You can, of course, find me, Phil KOE at KOE Nation on YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch. And we're going to give every last one of these beautiful people their time, their just dues. And let's start with Osiris, sir. Where can the folks find you and all that good stuff?
Yeah, look, if you want the most non-based, boring, technical, just me saying shit, you can go to find me on Osiris on Twitter. I'm head of these nuts, all right? And I'm going to say a bunch of bullshit that doesn't really matter about anything. I don't talk about political shit on Twitter because I don't want to talk to you motherfuckers. I don't give a fuck about you motherfuckers, and I don't give a shit. Or you can go watch my old videos on YouTube, Osiris Tech, and learn some Linux shit, right? Learn some technology shit. If you actually give a fuck about any of this social media shit, learn the technology behind it. Learn what is going on. Learn what is happening so that you can be informed about why the things are happening the way they're happening. I say that for everything. So, follow me. And maybe one day I'll stream again. But right now I'm busy. I have kids who hate my life. But it is what it is.
Well done. Lethe.
He's so skilled he can do it with his eyes closed, man.
Nice. Lethe, where can the beautiful people find you, sir?
Every Wednesday, I have this wonderful panel called The Minds of the Ecclesia. You may find Phil there some days. You may find any individual. It's kind of a change up at this point, but we're doing great content on topics nobody would expect, and I hope people join in. So on all platforms except YouTube, and I'm going to get to that, at Lethe Waterkai, including Twitter, everything else.
Excellent. And the first time appearance on Hazard Analysis of Tom Foolery. Thank you for being here. Where can the folks find you?
YouTube under Tom Foolery Show, or I have like a TikTok and a Facebook and a bunch of other stuff as well. YouTube.com/Tom Foolery Show.
Excellent, excellent. Oh, gotta show off the gun show.
Oh,
Nice.
damn.
And then, of course, me, your king of extreme, Phil KOE, the man of the hour, the man with the power, the man that makes it the podcast cower, the prince and potentate of the political parlance, the lord of the Scottish Highlands, and one damn handsome man if I do say so myself. You can, of course, find me at KOE Nation on YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch. That is KOE Nation. K is in King, O is in oh my God. You can find KOE Nation on YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch. E is in extremely happy to know you can find KOE Nation on YouTube, TikTok, and Twitch. And I am also current reigning, defending tribal chief of the Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast, which you can find on YouTube and Spotify, folks. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. I hope all of you make it back here to Hazard Analysis. Happy, healthy, much the wiser. God bless every last one of you. Show so nice, I had to outro it twice. All that being said, Tony G, take us away.
Thank everybody for joining us tonight. Thank you, all of our guests. This was an excellent episode. Loved all the discussion. This was fantastic. You can find me at Tony the Rod on TikTok. You can find me at Big Buck and Empire on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch. You can find me at the Revolutionaristic Podcast on YouTube and Spotify. You can find me at the Dog and Chicken Show on YouTube and Big Buck and Empire on YouTube. And of course, here, Sundays, 9 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time at Hazard Analysis. And you can find me coming up next at the Dog and Chicken Show, coming up next Friday night, episode 181. Folks, I appreciate everybody for sticking with it, watching this. This was a lot of fun. And of course, if you can, please go to the YouTube channel and subscribe because, yeah, we need it. Please, YouTube is just a bastard when it comes to allowing your things to be seen. So I appreciate everybody for watching. Please go subscribe. Thanks to our guests. Thanks to our viewers. And we will catch you next time. Later.
And see if it just smooths itself out.
Tell you what I'll do if I ever get back. I promise to refabricate you, raging rivers of gold. That's what the brochure advertised. And now we're lost, we gotta take it down. Let you down slow, it's hard to survive. El Dorado. Oh, Lord. Well, let's see how that one went.
Yeah. Let's see.
Hell yeah.
Beautiful.
All right. Fucking A.
That was fun.
I am still streaming. Phil, don't say the N-word, please.
Ah!
Can I say it? Wait, can I say it?
My word, negotiation? I hate that word. Oh.
Hey, look. Here's my policy.
Everyone knows
my
I don't
policy.
say it.
My policy the N-word. We're all gonna say it, or none of us are gonna say it.
Count to three. Oh,
on count of three. Who's really about it?
It's like Tony's like, oh, I thought we were all gonna say,
God damn it.
That's the ultimate cancel trap. No, actually, the ultimate, like, this would be a pretty fun game. It's called Musical Cancels, where you have a bunch of white dudes that are in their 30s keep taking more shots of liquor over the night, and then they're playing 90s gangster rap and see who accidentally cancels themselves first. And like, see who's left. It's like,
you know what's the irony about that? I don't think you're canceling yourself in my eyes. In my eyes,
I know,
but you're a real one. You know what's up because you know the words to all the songs, and goddamn it, I respect it.
You know the dirty version.
I just don't say that in public. You know there are consequences for your actions. I don't take responsibility for that.
I say fuck all that. Still, don't say it. They shouldn't have said it. Nobody should say it. Fuck all of them.
I agree with that as a real policy, but you know what? If it exists in the real world, hey, do what you do. I don't give a fuck.
Like, wait, what other? Oh, okay. So let's talk about rap music all around the world. What other slur is used in rap music all around the world that carries a similar weight?
I don't listen.
Yeah, it is kind of a problem. Like
There
the
isn't one?
white, like rap music has been highly appropriated by white people, where like they are the largest consumers of rap music. The word is in all of the music. Everybody loves the music. They pay tons of money for the music, and then they're not allowed to sing large portions of the lyrics.
So I say everybody says it, or nobody says it. Say I'm not gonna say it in front of people that I don't really want to say it, or I don't think it's appropriate in the situation to say. Because if I say it, I expect you to say it too. So I don't say it. Now, catch me on a Saturday night in the country or in the hood, because the country and the hood's almost the same thing to me. There could be horses, there could be caprices with 24s on them. I don't know.
You scared Tony away.
But either way,
like, can't cancel me if I'm not on screen. Oh wait,
either way,
recharges earbuds.
You might hear me saying the N-word, but you're not gonna hear me saying it a bunch of around other folks. That I'm like, it's everybody does this, right? Hispanics do it, Jewish people do it, white people do it, black people do it. They say shit in private, but that should be in private, right? There shouldn't be a whole culture built around that private.
I say horrible things about black people when they're not around.
Me too.
Thank you.
Me too.
I'd say, all right. Oh, we're all coming to greater synthesis here. Wow. Okay then. It's like,
That's
all
one
right.
way to put it.
Like Tom's like, shh, don't tell them. It's like, so it's just us here, right? Tom's like, yeah, just us here, right? All right, so all right, when I was in second grade one time, I shit my britches. Oh, yeah, we start getting deep into shit.
I grew up, I'd say, I talk about this all the time on stream. I grew up in an all-black neighborhood, went to an all-black school, went to an all-black church. I grew up saying the N-word just because all of my friends said the N-word. I knew I wasn't supposed to say it around adults, but I thought it was just like any other cuss word that I wasn't allowed to say around adults. I didn't know I wasn't supposed to say it because I was white. I just thought it's just a cuss word and I'm not supposed to say it around other people. So when I moved to Georgia, I had to, around all white people, I found out pretty quick I wasn't supposed to say it.
I was 21 years old when I realized that boy had a racial connotation to it.
Yeah.
Because like in our little white town, like that was something we would call, like if you wanted to say fuck you, and yeah, you'd call just anybody you wanted to beat up, you call him boy. Like, cause you are below me. And like, and then when I got out to the wider world, it's like, oh, there's a whole racial connotation to this word I was not aware of. Oh.
It's like a Facebook relationship status.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been able to use that to leverage, and that's not a nice thing to do. But when it comes down to the N word,
it got me in a fist fight one time.
Oh, I expected to get me in a fist fight. I called a dude little boy and told him to hold my pocket.
Oh no, you don't do that. That's a prison shit
that's
right
next
there.
level. That's like, yeah.
That's a
even
prison.
I had seen Scared Straight. I knew what I'd have known what the pocket thing man. I was like, no. I saw MTV in the 90s.
I was fortunate that I got to grow up where I grew up, and that was everywhere. I grew up in Virginia, Texas, Florida. I mean, no, not Florida, Georgia, California. My brother's born in Las Vegas, Germany, Ohio, England, Japan, et cetera, all the way across the board. I learned a lot of people's words that they're not supposed to say. A lot of different people, right? Like even the K word for the Jewish people.
It doesn't bear the same weight, is what I was trying to get to.
It does. No, but it does. No, it's for some people.
Really doesn't. No.
Well,
it really
it's not even just that, because like the case law kind of does, but it's not used in like common parlance. Yes, so it's not like there is nothing like the N-word where it's something that is like that has so much weight to it, yet has been reclaimed and used very commonly. There is nothing like that.
Fuck you, Tom, for
deflating his bubble. Because
what I was about to say, it's like the Boondocks. Did you just say what I was trying to say in a way,
exactly.
motherfucker?
That's exactly what the fuck you
now,
did.
Lethe,
This is called white-splaining.
I think I don't know. I talked to Osiris about this because I was curious what his take was, but I'm curious what your take is on this because about a year and a half ago, because my daughter's basically a clone of my ex, and she's very, very tan. And so she asked me one time because her friends at lunch one time asked her if she was allowed to say the N-word. Because she's Hispanic, but like very like, and she was like, I don't know. And then I don't think so, but she came to me and asked me. It's like, Dad, am I allowed to say the N-word? And I also went, I don't know, but I'm gonna go ahead and say no. Because that's not well, first of all, I raised you to have good manners, and that's certainly not good manners. Like if you were to start talking in such a way, that is not the way I raised you. And so that's first and foremost. Then I had to explain to her the difference between soft A and hard R. And don't really ever say either of them. Don't say either of them really. But the hard R is way, way worse. Like that's one of those that that's just that's the rules. If you drop a hard R, you're supposed to like wait, like let the other guy get 3 hits in before you start interfering.
In America,
other racial slur works that way, where there's a different version of it where it may be somewhat acceptable, where it's not acceptable at all.
No, there are other words that are, I think, as harmful, but they're just not as widely.
Flexible. I mean, flexible.
Right. No, you're right. But
it's like Louis C.K. said, like when, like for Jew and for Mexican, like if you want to, you can just add a little stank to that word, and it suddenly becomes kind of a really big insult, like Mexican. Like it's like suddenly like what the fuck?
Like beaner, right? Like if you you walk up to a Mexican, call him a beaner, like you're asking for a fight. You're probably asking for a fight.
it's actually interesting. It seems like as much conversation happens around the N-word, most people have no idea where it came from. It was a labor force before slavery days. It was black labor force. So it was something that they actually called themselves as black people who worked. The N-word was the name of like black people who were workers. And then when they started being slaves, the name for, because they were working slaves, you know, the name for black workers was the N-word, and that's how it.
By the way, it has a very common
I got it.
delineation across all Latin languages.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought it was. It was the Spanish traders that sold black people, called them negras, and because the people that were receiving these slaves were ignorant to understanding how words are said in other languages, denoted it down to the hard R, and then eventually black people distilled it down to.
Well, no, that's the Phil's point. I think it was Phil's point. It depends on how you color the word when you say the word, right? Like, so the word itself had no racial connotation to start with.
Well, I'm talking about the root.
Yeah, right. No, I agree with what you said. But moving forward, the word itself had no racial connotation. It is just what you called those people, and then it became, oh, you're not. You're. How do I say this? You're not a drinker. You're a drinker. You know what I'm saying? So it became it comes a very different thing.
Let me fight that real quick with two words, real quick. Beaner.
Well, exactly. It depends on how you tone the word, right? And after 100,
nobody does that.
No, people do that.
Soft A, beaner.
No. People. So if I go to no, that's not true. If I for example, if I go to Colombia right now, and they're gonna say negro, right? Now in Mexico, that has a certain connotation. In Colombia, it has a different connotation. But it depends on how you say that word, what it means, what it means. And English language is rife with this type of tonality that matters. It's not just the N-word. There's other things that you can say where the tone matters, where is the perception that you're trying to place on the hearer of the word to make the difference. That's just how language works. But it's just that this word, I think, is a runaway train. It's off the fucking rails. It's going in its own direction, and it's the only thing that's going in its own direction, and it doesn't make any sense. I'm a person at my age who's a proponent of consistency, moral and ethical consistency.
Oh.
And if I'm not gonna, if I was a rapper and I was gonna make music, I wouldn't do what somebody like K Dot did. What's his real name?
Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar, where he brought the white girl on stage, like rap my lyrics, gets to the N-word, like, oh my god, you did the wrong thing, bro. Stop, stop it. That is
supposedly the same exact thing happened a week earlier with Kendrick Lamar, where another white girl did it. Same thing. She said the word, nobody cared, and he didn't care, and nobody batted an eye. But in this crowd, everybody cared, and so he cared. But I gotta head out. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Tom, God bless. Travel well. Come by anytime, sir.
Appreciate it. Later, guys. Okay. He's right about the ships. It's just that was Negro. That was not Spanish people already had the word Negro for the word black, and then they used Negro for black slaves, but the N-word was different. And it did come from a similar stun seed. Read backwards. These nuts. Well done. Tom, I've heard you're communist now. Triple communist, actually. Triple communist. Quadruple Marxist. Tom, everyone is... Wait. Everyone chat is saying you're a Wiccan. What's that like? I am not a Wiccan. Did people actually say that? I am not a Wiccan. The red shirt was not an accident. An ancient. Wait, what? Accident? Tom, if you're not Wiccan, why did you attend my virtual summoning ceremony last week? Singing animals rule. Yeah, they do. Love the shirt. Appreciate it. Tom, did you cover the Steven Crowder? No, not yet. I do plan on going over it soon. Freaking Thack, dude. He was hooking it up, dude. I don't read the news. I don't ever pay attention to the news at all. So all of the stuff that I'm getting, like, I didn't know what the topics were. I didn't even know that we were actually going to talk about Hunter Biden. I didn't even know that they actually had a topic planned on Hunter Biden. I just knew that I was going to go in there and force Hunter Biden as a topic. And as soon as I mention it, they're like, oh, well, thank you for the segues. Should have known they already planned on talking about Hunter Biden. What else would they talk about? So yeah, I was like looking stuff up the entire time, just trying to find information as we're going through. Got you, Tom. Yes, Thackman was on top of it. He was sending me DMs on Discord and everything, and I'm like looking all sorts of stuff up and double checking everything. Do you believe in controlled opposition? Like, do I believe it's happened before? Yeah, sure. Or are you asking if I like believe it works, or what do you mean, do I believe in it? Make sure your sources are not HuffPost or MSNBC. Oh crap, I am blanking on it. Forbes. Forbes is my favorite source for anything. Like, top to bottom, Forbes. Forbes all the way. Did you hear about Sudan? No. Like I said, I don't read the news, so. More clearly, do you believe it is practiced now? Sure, I guess. I would have to have like specific examples of like what you're asking about. Sure, I'm sure it's practiced. All right, I gotta go to the bathroom. We can take calls if anybody wants to do those, or we can move on to the Steven Crowder stuff. Although I don't have a link for the Steven Crowder stuff, so I need somebody to post it in content suggestions. Ah, crap. I didn't mean to play that. What the hell? Why is that here? What? Well, that just screwed up not getting copyrighted today. Damn it. What the hell? Why, how? I don't know how that ended up on that playlist. That is no
How were you
business.
told?
All right. Here we go. Yeah, I know nothing about this. I just know that somebody left Steven Crowder. And this is him speaking out. We went over the other guy when he left Steven Crowder, and apparently he was fired because he wouldn't stop talking about the Jews. He was their head writer, and every single time he came up with a story, it was about the Jews. So they fired him. That is the wrong camera. There we go. Okay.
How were
Before
you
the-
told that you're not allowed to promote your show?
Like the shows would start, and 2 minutes before showtime, somebody would walk out to me and go, "Hey, you can't promote your show today."
There was never a reason given.
No, it was more to, it was like demeaning. So you'd be like, oh, thanks.
Dave Landau is spilling all the tea in what I, at least, would call an explosive tell-all interview with Michael Malice. I mean, he is not pulling any punches and has revealed at least his own reasons for why he parted ways with Steven Crowder and is.
I think it's important to mention that roaming millennial Lauren Chen
no longer appearing
is a babe
as a co-host on Louder with Crowder. Now, if you're not familiar with Dave Landau, he's a comedian. He was previously on Anthony Camilla's show, and like I mentioned, was on Louder with Crowder as well. But a while ago, he stopped appearing in episodes, and there was never really any statement given as to why, so it left a lot of fans wondering, hey, where's Dave? Where'd Dave go? Is he just on a break? Is he gonna be back? Or is he just done with the show entirely?
She's such a confusing looking person, because like she looks very ethnic but is like super white, but is like, I don't know, she's all over the place, but it works. Big Dumb Life Entertainment. You end this debate, Tom. She is bae. Let's go.
Well, after Crowder...
Tom, what economic system do you subscribe to? Give a simple summary as to why that is your choice. Capitalism, probably. Because capitalism's the best. This is my... Oh, that's what it is. Okay, there we go.
Show went on break because of the whole DW situation, which we will be addressing more, and the show relaunched, Loud with Crowder relaunched on Rumble, and Dave still was not there, it appeared like, yeah, he was totally done, and it didn't seem like any official reason would ever be given, which, you know, does happen, and that's kind of fine. I mean, outside of the entertainment industry, people change jobs all the time, and it's not necessarily always the case that something salacious or some drama happened. However, if we are to at least believe Dave's side of things, drama was definitely at play here. You see, Dave was the most recent guest on Michael Malice's podcast, You're Welcome, which is a great show. I've had the honor of being on that show myself. If you're not subscribed and listening to it already, you really should. And essentially, the entire hour is Dave, I guess some people might say, airing out dirty laundry, but I would say kind of telling his side of things, because I think Dave has been frustrated that a lot of stuff has been going on behind the scenes that he wasn't really able to talk about. So it seems like he's used this podcast appearance as his way of getting his truth out there, if you will. And oh boy, there are a lot of different things that Dave has to say. Specifically, as we see here in this article from Timcast News, the comedian Dave provided Malice with samples of his contract, including a strict tardy policy which reportedly only applied to Landau. Contractor agrees that if he arrives to work more than 5 minutes late, he is considered to be in breach of Section 1 and must leave company premises and will not be compensated for the day the breach occurred, reads the contract according to Landau. Whatever he has and whatever he's going through, I think he was bullied at some point in his life.
Crap. I'm so sorry. I was reading something over here. Sorry, guys. We're going to play that again.
Had the honor of being on that show myself. If you're not subscribed and listening to it already, you really should. And essentially, the entire hour is Dave, I guess some people might say, airing out dirty laundry, but I would say kind of telling his side of things, because I think Dave has been frustrated that a lot of stuff has been going on behind the scenes that he wasn't really able to talk about. So it seems like he's used this podcast appearance as his way of getting his truth out there, if you will. And oh boy,
his truth.
There are a lot of different things that Dave has to say. Specifically, as we see here in this article from Timcast News, the comedian Dave provided Malice with samples of his contract, including a strict tardy policy which reportedly only applied to Landau. Contractor agrees that if he arrives to work more than 5 minutes late, he is considered to be in breach of Section 1 and must leave company premises and will not be compensated for the day the breach occurred, reads the contract according to Landau. Whatever he has and whatever he's going through, I think he was bullied at some point in his life, Landau said of Crowder. He's become the bully and he doesn't realize it. Comedian said he had also been criticized for sleeping on the job, which he said was a result of jet lag from traveling. He's got a lot of yes men around him, and I really do love his staff and I love working with them, but I think they're kind of just a little bit intimidated at this point to keep their own job, he continued, conceding he felt the same way during his employment. Pretty spicy stuff there, and those aren't even all the allegations that Landau has launched against Crowder. We're going to be going through more of them, but first I do want to say thank you to today's sponsor, Patriot Gold. According to a lot of people, the 2023 financial crisis has begun. According to Bloomberg, for example, the
It's a bit interesting as much as Crowder had to say about contracts here. I gotta grab my medicine real quick. I'll let you guys watch the commercial.
missing catalyst is here. The banking crisis signals the economy's ebbing tide. BlackRock CEO Lawrence Fink has also warned the dominoes are starting to fall and the cost of easy money is here. And according to Wells Fargo, commodities are in a super cycle and we have at least 6 years to go, with gold surpassing $3,000 an ounce in the worst case scenario. Meanwhile, Biden issued his very first veto as president, overriding Congress blocking ESG 401ks. And what that does is pave the way for your retirement dollars to invest in their woke agenda. So have you got gold? Because you might just need it. Call the proud Americans of the Patriot Gold Group today before it's too late and mention Lauren Chen, this channel's name, and you'll always get best-in-class service from Patriots protecting Patriots. And Patriot Gold Group also has the No Fee for Life IRA, where your 401k or IRA can be in physical gold and silver. You may be eligible for the No Fee for Life IRA on qualifying rollovers. Call 888-270-9223. Again, that's 888-270-9223 to get your free investor guide today. Patriot Gold Group is
Oh, whoops. Yo.
What's up?
What's up, man?
Okay. So, all right. We've sort of moved past the point where I was like gonna talk about, but
no, let's hear it.
Okay, so controlled opposition in the
Uh-huh.
United States,
It's fake.
you feel like it's fake. Tell me
No,
why.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. What do you want to talk about with controlled opposition?
Like, okay, do you understand the full-blown concept behind it? Like how it's essentially tied into classism and everything?
Uh, controlled opposition is just a thing that people do. Like generally we use it to talk about like police forces or like FBI using it to cause problems for the other side, but even like regular people can be controlled opposition. If I have like, my chess club and I don't like the other chess club, I can use controlled opposition. But I'm assuming when you say like, classism and things like that, you're talking about like government intelligence agencies using controlled opposition as like a racist thing or something.
More so along the lines of socioeconomic strata. Like, okay, everybody at the top knows each other. Behind closed doors, they shake hands. A lot of shit might be performative, yada, yada, yada. You know, the typical conspiracy level type shit. I believe sort of that, but dial it down from like 11 to about 7 or 8. Like, I honestly don't believe that any of the people at the top of these businesses that own these businesses actually give a shit about any of the agendas they're pushing. They're just using it as like distraction type shit and
What
to sow
agendas?
division. Mainly the whole progressivism versus far right wing type bullshit.
Oh, I highly disagree with that. I think it has been proven to be insanely profitable to be woke, to do your
Oh
rainbow
well, yeah,
flag stuff,
obviously.
so then why isn't that enough? Why isn't that in and of itself enough incentive for them to do this stuff?
I believe that could potentially be the best case scenario. They see the profit in it and they seek to like gain from that. But if you keep a population divided against itself, it can't look at the real issues at hand. Like, the whole CEO 500%. I mean, well, 130 times the pay rate than what it was before they started investing in these news corporations, that sort of shit. The actual social and political matters that we were starting to look at in the early 2000s. Do you see how it like all dovetails together? And I mean, I know this is sort of like Alex Jones level type shit, but
It
you
sounds
gotta
like it.
you gotta be a dummy to not look at it and be like, hey, there's a time when too much coincidence isn't coincidence anymore. Like literally
Yeah,
the
I don't
narrative.
believe in like a systemic controlled opposition. No. I think that they use them in instances, but not in like a long,
Oh well,
like
obviously.
a long planned out thing for like a specific end goal. I think it's like, yeah, very specific instances they could possibly do it.
Okay, so given that, which I agree with you on, I don't believe it's a full blown like grand architectural structural
Are
thing.
you on a mic?
Yeah, I'm like on a headset. It sucks.
Yeah, it's rough. But
Yeah. Okay. So, can you hear me better now?
I can. I'm wondering if it's Discord that's doing it. It could be like the sensitivity on your stuff. If you go to your user settings and go to where is it?
Voice and video.
Yeah, you should have a thing that lights up green, and it has
Yeah.
a check mark for automatically determined input sensitivity.
Turn that
that
off.
off. Yes, and then push it all the way to the left.
Okay, push it all the way to the left.
Yes.
Is that better?
That is so much better. Oh my goodness.
Awesome.
Okay.
I've been wondering about that shit. Like,
Okay.
So while I agree that there might not be a huge grand conspiracy, I believe like one facet of like you can have multiple facets that are passively interlocked to each other, creating effect. Like sort of like almost a chaos theory of this is why shit as it is, and it might seem like a big machine, but it's several interlocking smaller things that like influence each other. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, sure. Like a domino effect or a butterfly
yeah,
effect sort of thing.
sort of type like that. So do you even believe that that could potentially be a thing in action right now?
Yeah, sure. Why don't you just lay out your theory so I can understand what we're talking about?
Okay, so my theory right now is that this whole thing like surged into my brain when you were on that panel, the way that everybody just started when the article was being read, everybody was belly hooing for this side or that side, and I'm like, these people are y'all were acting like the typical like, well, a couple of you.
I
don't
don't
know
care about
exactly.
sides. I don't care
Yeah.
about one side or the other. It's more about just being correct that I care about. But
Well,
okay.
obviously, but the ones who were like ballyhooing their side, it was like it just seems sort of like how can they're like literally I don't know, they've got a plague in their brain for their side or whatever, like they can't see like that this lawsuit on either side actually means a damn thing, you know? So why are we even I can understand the drama and the content driving, but like it was just something I wanted to talk to you about, but you pretty much cut it off like I don't believe in sides. So, it's just
It's
being
not that I
right or
don't
wrong.
believe in sides. I believe like I don't care about sides, but I
Yeah.
think that they do. So like as like I mentioned in my closing statement, New York Post is milking the Hunter Biden story as much as possible. And they are coming out with
Yeah.
every little story they can about it, talking about the dozens of intelligence officers that said that this was Russian misinformation refused to retract their statement. That's because they didn't say that. They didn't say it was Russian misinformation, so of course they're not going to retract that
Oh
statement.
yeah, no.
The same thing with like the New York Post or New York Times finally has acknowledged that the Hunter Biden story is real. Like they never denied that it was real. They never said it wasn't real. Like why? But they keep doing this. They just keep finding new ways to make it like they'll put out a story that makes it sound like something else is happening, right? So they refuse to retract this statement. Well, that's because they didn't make that statement that you're saying they refuse to retract. But you're not lying when you say they refuse to retract this statement. You are correct. They do refuse to retract that statement.
Because
But
they
you
never
can
said it.
Exactly, but you can put it out like that, and everybody's
Yeah.
like, "Oh my goodness!" Well, then that's what they said, and now they're lying about it. They or New York Times finally acknowledges that the Hunter laptop is real. They never denied it was real, but it like that they didn't say they denied it was real. They didn't say that the New York Times was refusing to acknowledge it was real. They just said that they finally acknowledged that it was real, as though they have been denying it. Like they just keep wording things in the most ominous way so that they can make sure that they pump you full of propaganda in a way that's going to get you super riled up and make you keep coming back for more.
Okay, so here's a question. Do you think that had the public venues, regardless of who they were, actually reported on a Hunter Biden laptop in whole and just let the story run, do you think if they had done that, that the election would have turned out different?
No, I don't think the Hunter Biden story would have changed anything at all.
Do you think that because people were getting tired of Trump or for different reasons?
Because I don't think Hunter has any bearing on whether or not people want to vote for his dad. Like if it was stuff that actually had to do with Joe, then sure, that would have had some effect on him. But so far, there's nothing that should affect Joe whatsoever. So I don't, I don't see why it would have changed anything.
Okay, do you think optics has anything to do with an election?
I do, but I think in this case, most people are smart enough to not like care that the son is doing something bad. Therefore, like I don't think anybody who liked Joe would stop liking Joe because his son did something wrong.
True. I could get that. Yeah, I might be Killenger mentally retarded right now too, because I'm like sort of drunk. I don't know. When I like at the end of the day, I like drink a couple of beers, and I'm enough of a lightweight that only a couple affect me. So yeah, but I mean, I knew I had a point. I waited too long to make it. That's the whole problem here, so I lost it.
Well, I'm sure you'll get it back one day, and you can come on
Yeah.
and tell me all about it.
Alrighty. Thanks for the time.
Yes, sir.
All right, bye.
All right, bye. Killenger.
Oh. Yeah,
Hello?
no. Hey, man, I don't really mean you're retarded.
He's gone.
Well, I just don't mean he's retarded. I mean, it's kind of like goofy, but I mean, I don't really think he's retarded. I mean,
okay. Yeah, I think he knows.
Like,
He knows it's a joke.
Yeah, I think it's like completely antithetical to like society to absolutely think everybody's retarded. Otherwise, we won't have a society. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But what I was gonna ask you was so like what do they the people you were who are the people you were debating against again? I didn't catch the beginning of it.
So when I was doing my podcast back in the day, I started like collabing with other podcasters, and I would go on their shows all the time. They would invite me on their shows, and so this is one show that I went on regularly. Almost every like once a week, I was on their show. We would get super drunk and talk about politics every day, and we've helped each other for a long time and promoted each other's stuff, and so yeah, like I've known them for a while now. But the name of their show is Dog and Chicken. They've changed the name of their show a couple of times. So Dog and Chicken and Big Buckin' Entertainment.
Can you give me a second? I just need to rearrange to. You're cutting out for a second here.
I'll think about it.
I'm always in the. Yeah. Okay. Continue. I'm sorry. You're good now. So the chicken and bucket thing you said, or chicken and what?
So the name of their channel is Big Buckin' Entertainment, but they also have another channel called Dog and Chicken, and so. So yeah, but like right now I just looked up Big Buckin' Entertainment. Yeah, the Dog and Chicken Show, Revolutionary Wrestling Podcast, KOE Nation. So yeah, they have a number of channels.
This is the funniest names. I don't know. You can't laugh at those names. Those sounds like backyard wrestling names.
Yep.
Did they do backyard? Do they do that?
They don't do backyard wrestling. No, they cover like
Aw.
actual like wrestling shows and
Oh,
they,
yep.
like,
Man. Okay,
and then
there it
they
is.
like bet on them. Like they'll say like who's gonna win ahead of time, and then whoever
Yeah, it
wins
sounds
gets the
about
belt at
right.
the end of the show.
Yeah. Sorry. I'm familiar with White Trash Nation, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm all about that kind of shit, dude. I love white trash shit. But anyways, do they even know like the powers, like the balance of powers at all? Like do they actually know like the function of the government?
Yeah, like to a degree, yeah, of course.
I mean, it didn't sound like it. They like to me it sounded like they thought like president could do whatever the fuck he wants.
Well, I mean, in the case of like whether or not he can declassify something, yeah, sure.
Well, I mean, even then he can't.
He can declassify things, yeah. He does have the ability to declassify things. Now,
Well, yeah, but he's gonna get like action against the national security.
Yeah,
because like
so
you
there's
can't just
the
like you can't just like reveal nuke secrets.
yeah, I want to
Like
say it's
I mean,
the
like what do you mean?
National Archive are the people who can challenge whether
Well-
or not you declassify something, and they can change
Well,
it.
declassify old nuke secrets, but like you can't do like modern nuke secrets. Like I'm pretty sure the military will probably assassinate you if you're the president that tries to do that. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
that will happen.
Okay.
I don't know if like I mean this is the balance of powers. I mean like bro, like are you I mean even the judiciary system should have like stepped in at that point of like any president stepping in like saying they're going to do nuke secrets, like military secrets.
Yeah.
And Congress also should have stepped in too.
Well,
I
hold
don't
on.
think it
Them
I think it should have been
declassifying documents is one thing. Like having like nuke codes and crap like that, that's very different than like a classified document, right?
well yeah,
And there's
I'm
different
talking
like
about
classification levels and all
you're
sorts of
right.
stuff.
Right, but like I mean there's levels to it and like I don't know, we have a balance though. We have a balance of powers for a reason.
Yep.
Like even Congress I think should be able to step in and say like, okay, our president should be removed, you know?
Yeah. They can.
Hold on, I'm cutting out. Hold on. I can't hear you at all. Can you hear me? Jesus Christ, dude.
Can you hear me now?
Check again.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Oh, finally. Okay.
Oh, this is the worst, dude.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I mean, like we have like checks and balances, and like I don't think anybody should be able to do like anything unless it's checked and balanced,
True.
right?
Yep.
I don't know if this is gonna work, dude. I keep cutting in and out. Fuck.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Fuck me, dude. All right. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna work because it's just too in and out.
Consumer Affairs top-rated gold IRA dealer 6 years in a row. So give him a call over at 888-270-9223, and a big thank you to Patriot Gold Group for sponsoring this video. So once more, if you haven't seen Dave's interview with Michael, I recommend you check it out yourself just so you get first-hand knowledge of what exactly he said. But among the things he alleges Crowder did while they were working together was, number one, have a light installed in the studio to stop Dave from talking over Crowder too much.
It became a little weird because a light was put in, where it was his rant button. It was basically a Dave don't talk button.
So it's like off camera, but in your eyesight.
Yes. And I
And
was
would he be the one pressing the button, or was there a producer pressing the button?
he would press it.
So like Mr. Burns, like he had a button under his desk.
I don't think that's weird. I don't think that's weird at all. I don't think that's weird at all. It's his show. Like, I assume he wants to be able to like go off and say things for a while without other people interrupting him. Everybody else is just a guest. These are co-hosts to come on and give like color commentary around the stuff that he's saying. I think I assumed that existed. Like literally, I always assumed that existed.
Or the table, and when it's Steven's turn to talk and Dave needs to shut the F up, he presses this button.
Yes.
And Dave also mentions a specific event where there was some tension over who a guest co-host might be that ended in Crowder literally yelling at him over the phone.
So I just text Steven and said, hey, I just talked to the showrunner. I just want to make sure it's still cool that Matt comes in. And he texted me something back along the lines of what's done is done. I said, what does that mean? It's your show, which is ironic. That's what he said. And my phone rings, and I don't want to go greatly into the conversation between us, but it was he's like, do you still want to be on Louder with Crowder? And I said, not at the moment. And he starts going off on me, and now there's a ton of people in my apartment who can hear it.
Wait, he's literally raising his voice?
He's screaming at me.
Okay, so literally raising his voice, not just being stern, like to the point where it's audible.
It's audible, yeah.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, it's started stern, but then it got into telling me that he owns me, and
in those words.
Yes.
And as that Timcast article mentions, there was also this proposed very strict 5-minute tardy rule where Dave could not be more than 5 minutes late to when he was supposed to show up, lest he not be paid at all or even allowed in the office. And to be clear, there's a difference between a call time and an air time when you're in something like a podcast. A call time is when you're supposed to show up at the studio or on the set to, get ready and just ensure that you're there with plenty of time before you need to go on. That's very different than the actual time that the podcast will be starting. So to be clear, in this contract, or at least this proposed clause, they were saying that Dave could not be more than 5 minutes late from when they tell him to get there, even if that left him with plenty of time to actually be on the show.
I can't hear a word she's saying, bro. Her skin is like flawless, dude. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't even look real. She looks like a freaking China doll or something.
And I know a lot of people might say, well, not wanting someone to be late for work, that's not exactly a crazy thing. But first off, 5 minutes is not a lot of leeway. Like, I think you're pretty punctual if you're only 5 minutes late, at least in my opinion. And the second thing, and I think why this was especially strange, at least to Dave, is that according to Dave, Crowder's team would often change the time that he was supposed to be at the studio, which of course made it hard to be punctual when, you have other work to do for the show and they're changing the time you're supposed to be there, 7 a.m., 5 a.m., whatever it may be. And I think if you want someone to be on time, ensure they're on time, it's always a good idea to give them as much heads up as possible.
I'm in love with this chick. I would go straight to being alt-right in a second, dude. In a second. And she's like the opposite of everything, dark hair, dark eyes, very, very light skin, all the, this is very, very different. And I am hypnotized over here.
In any case, the general vibe I got from Dave's account of the time that he was on the show, it seems like
yeah, she was on Steven Crowder's side through the Daily Wire stuff, yeah.
Crowder has control issues, to say the least. Specifically, Dave mentioned things like Crowder wanting him to be
Tom, that's a robot. You can see some wires sticking out. True. I bet her feet ain't made like lavs. True.
in studio or like on call, on location, even when Dave had nothing to do at the studio, wasn't filming, wasn't even part of rehearsals. Crowder still wanted him to be physically there for reasons that escaped my understanding, but to which Dave attributes to just, yeah, literally wanting control over him.
He wanted me to be there.
She got the Joe Lewis special. The white presenting Asian. Oh, that's good. That was good. Well done.
On more Fridays. And that started being a point of tension because I started making money on the road, and I did say I would be there on more Fridays.
I don't know. Just in case anybody doesn't know what that is, I don't know if it does that actually. Jew Lois.
Do you believe that you have a different relationship with the social and political systems in society based on who you are? You are a white, I'm assuming middle class Asian American.
Did he must have misspoke, right?
White presenting, I should say.
You know what, dude? Mad props for the double down. Call him a fucking cracker, man. Fucking go for it, dude. What?
I'm white presenting?
Wait.
What?
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 A white presenting Asian.
What the heck?
Let me rephrase that.
Can you look at me right now? This is what. No.
I can simplify that for you. I can simplify that for you if that upset you.
Oh, it's so bad. I can simplify that for you if that upset you. Oh my goodness, dude. The white presenting Asian. That is Lauren Chen.
But every time I would show up, he wouldn't show up.
And in another example of what I at least would also call controlling behavior, Dave talks about Steven not wanting him to leave Dallas to go on tour, even if it didn't necessarily affect him being on the show. Like they would have stipulations, or they wanted to have stipulations of how many weekends Dave could be in town versus out of town, even though Dave didn't work weekends.
Can't be gone any more than every third weekend.
No, wait, so let's break this down also. Steven has started touring as a comedian.
Yes.
Steven is no dummy. Steven is very well aware that you and every comic, weekends are when you tour, hit the road, you make the money. So he is very clearly taking that secondary or even primary, possibly at this point, source of income from you, because you're just going to be sitting in Dallas for no reason.
And throughout the interview, Dave also talks about how basically Steven wanted control or ownership over Dave's comedy special, which Dave had never agreed to give to Steven.
And then the next thing is comedy special releases through Louder with Crowder, because he always felt that he owned my special, even though, because he let me keep the door that night.
Okay.
Bro, why does he have the freaking blur on? What is behind him? What is possibly behind him to where he thought, yeah, this looks horrible, but I'm going with it anyways. This looks like freaking crap, but we're just going to stick with it anyways. What is behind him, bro?
But I didn't sign anything that said, oh, you're letting me keep the door, so now you own my comedy?
And on top of that, another common theme in the interview is also Steven apparently almost being, it seemed, afraid that Dave would be upstaging him, having funnier jokes or getting more attention.
It was just, hey, don't be funnier, don't be, and that's the truth. I mean, it sounds bitter, but I knew it was true because I was pulled aside and I said, and it was, hey, make sure if you're doing a rant or like you guys are riffing, he gets the last word.
You were told this explicitly?
Yes.
Now, obviously, these allegations don't look good for Steven Crowder. I think.
Wait, okay, hold on. No, I think that generally when you want somebody to get the last word, it's so that they can move on from there. It's so that they can easily segue. And lots of times when you want to get the last word and then move on, other people keep piling on and they kind of ruin the moment. I don't think that that's weird. I think that that's perfectly normal.
Think having someone who worked with or for you leaving on bad terms, that's never a positive thing if you are an employer. But what makes this whole situation look especially bad for Crowder, honestly, is the previous drama he's had with the Daily Wire. And I'm sure we are all familiar with what I'm talking about. If you're not familiar with it, I did do my own stream addressing the situation. Give that a watch if you haven't seen it. But essentially, during that whole fiasco, Steven Crowder was trying to paint himself as, you know, the morally upright party, the party who's in favor of fairness, or at least fair contracts, and not taking advantage of people, even if you have the power to do so. And if you've seen that stream of mine, you'll know, and I'm not gonna lie, in that particular instance, I definitely wasn't on the Daily Wire side. I've said it before, I don't like how that company does business. That bridge is already burned, so I have no problem talking about it. I mean, I like a lot of their work. I definitely like a lot of their hosts, but to me, that was not a good term sheet. That was, I would even go as far as to say, exploitative. However, just because I don't like the way that the Daily
These freaking people, dude. I hate them so much.
Wire behaved in that situation, that doesn't necessarily mean that Steven Crowder was in the right. And I know that a lot of people who watched that stream came away saying, oh, you're just simping for Crowder, yada, yada, yada. But it's like, in that stream, I explicitly mentioned that Steven Crowder has his own problems and he is certainly hard to work with. Well, this is a great example of those problems and him being hard to work with. And honestly, I'll go so far as to say, yes, if what Dave is saying is true, then in my opinion, this does make Steven Crowder a hypocrite. I mean, in my opinion, you can't in good faith complain about exploitative contracts while also simultaneously trying to get your co-host to start their own show every week on your network while offering them no extra money, which is something that Dave says Steven did try.
The next thing is he's ready to start his own show by his own Friday show by October 14th. So now I have a show every Friday for no extra money. So I can't tour on Fridays.
Let's break this down. So you are going to have your own show, which is a plus.
Yes.
But you're not getting paid a single dime to host your own new show on his network or his platform.
Correct.
From where I'm standing, even if only a fraction of the things Dave says about Steven are true, it still paints him as someone who is very hard to work with, very controlling, and someone who, yeah, the rumors about are true, because Steven, I mentioned this in the stream, he does have a reputation in this industry as being difficult to work with and kind of a diva. And I would say that the fact that Steven has such high turnover for his show, for co-hosts and things like that, it kind of does, in a way, lend credence to the idea that perhaps this man is not the best to work with. But you know what? Obviously, as someone who's had my own interactions with Steven that didn't end that great, if you guys, again, have seen the stream, you'll know what I'm talking about. I do recognize the fact that perhaps I'm just kind of biased against Crowder here. So I did want to go over some of the points that Crowder's defenders have brought up. Specifically, one of the points of contention that Dave mentions with Michael many times is that when he was appearing on Louder with Crowder, they were supposed to be plugging his tour dates and his show dates because he was actually making quite a bit of money on the road versus just being a co-host. And it's almost like he was part of the package of him being on Crowder was getting that exposure to promote his tour. However, Dave says that after a certain point on the show, he wasn't able to promote his tour dates. He was being told specifically, don't plug your tour. That, or he was only able to plug tour dates that involved Steven because they did tour together for.
I would assume there's got to be a reason for that. I would assume there's some sort of reason, like he was saying something in his comedy specials, or he had lines that they didn't like, or there was something controversial or some crap. I would assume that there's a reason that they didn't want it plugged all of a sudden, not that they just were trying to dick him over.
At least a while. Now, I don't watch Louder with Crowder enough to be able to give a statement as to what does or does not happen regularly on the show, but according to fans of Louder with Crowder, perhaps Dave is overestimating the amount that he was stopped from plugging the show. As this person on Twitter explains, Dave, I love you, man. Crowder always seemed like a tough guy to work for, but I watch every day. The claim that he didn't promote your shows just isn't true, man. I always knew where you were. It was mentioned all the time. Sorry you did like that, but that was hard to buy. To which Dave responded, I didn't say he never did, and no, people didn't, and it was a point of tension. And Dave also explained on Twitter saying, I'm only posting this because it's a common response and misunderstood. He promoted my appearances for a long while, no question. It became a daily battle behind the scenes when my new contract was thrust all over my face and chest. And this interview and this whole drama with Michael and Dave, this is something that was discussed on the Timcast episode with Ryan Long. And I did watch that segment on YouTube, and I scrolled through the comments, and there were actually a lot of Crowder fans saying, hey man, Dave, I like you, but your shows were getting plugged a lot. And again, I personally can't speak to how often they were or were not being plugged, but to play devil's advocate here,
I would assume his point is that they didn't get plugged every single show. That's what it sounds like. It sounds like he's saying they didn't get plugged literally every show, and that there were days where they just didn't do it. That's what he said. That's what it sounded like. I don't know why people would be like, "Oh, I heard him plug it before." Like, I believe it was every show. Well, that's kind of the point, is that we would have to go through like every show and then see if it was plugged each and every time.
obviously there are two sides to every story, and maybe
I have a problem with ants right now. This happens every summer. People who have been watching for a while know. I have a problem with ants every summer where they're all over the place. And then when I see them, I start to get itchy. Like as soon as I see an ant anywhere, I just see one ant crawling, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh crap. Do I, like, the smallest hair moves on my body and I'm like, oh, I got freaking, there's an ant on me.
maybe in Crowder's mind, at least, they were doing their end and promoting his show plenty. Additionally, other people have said things like, hey man, being expected to actually show up for a job you're being paid for and to not be late, that's not really that big of a deal. I don't know why you're complaining. Which, hey, I would love to know from you guys. Do you think that the things Dave accuses Crowder of, if true, do you think they are that big of a deal? Because obviously what we found out during the whole Daily Wire debacle was that, yeah, people do have different standards of what is and what is not acceptable in a workplace. And I mean, at the end of the day, perhaps this is a situation where no one was necessarily in the wrong, but it's just that these were two people with different work attitudes that didn't mesh well together. Which brings us to another criticism that people have of Dave after seeing this interview, that none of this needed to be public, and him coming forward with it all was actually in pretty bad taste. Case in point, Jeffrey Richardson on Twitter tagged Dave saying, I don't know if this was necessary to do, to which Dave replied, I was denied a face-to-face conversation and I'm not welcome back. I have to say why I left. I don't have the power and reach he has. At the end of the day, in the interview with Michael Malice, Dave makes it very clear that he's not asking people to stop watching Steven's show, and that moving forward, he wishes Steven nothing but the best. But I think a lot of people who are supporting Steven right now in light of this new information may no longer want to do so. And now I don't think it's my place to tell people where they should or should not spend their money. But if you are someone who's part of Mud Club, I would love to know, does this interview that Dave give change your opinion of Steven or make you perhaps less willing to support him? In any case, that's pretty much all I have to say for now. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time.
I love her voice too. She's got a great voice. Okay. I'm gonna cut it short here today, guys. I'm tired. I'm gonna cut it short. I mentioned this earlier. I got a conversation with PF Young coming up in a couple of days. I feel like I'm supposed to have a debate this week, but I don't remember. I'll have to check my schedule again. I'm going to send you guys over to, well, you guys tell me. There's Sitch and Adam, and then there's Zonia. Where you guys want to go? Nobody? Do you want to go to Sitch and Adam or Zonia? Sitch and Adam, Zonia, Zonia. What are Sitch and Adam up to? Let's see.
We have Greyjoy.
Yep.
Oh, the reflection on the computers is correct in the
Yes.
everything.
You look
looks
very
good.
funny as Robbie.
I
With
know.
That face.
Oh, hello.
Ooh.
That's my.
Are Sitch and Adam sub to me? No, but that is part of the process, you know, rating them over and over, where everybody goes in and says my name over and over. That is, you know, that's part of the process.
I'm getting ready to talk about something serious with you.
Mm-hmm. That's your serious face?
And then we have the Sitch and Adam comedy show.
Yeah.
Oh, this is great.
That show.
Sitch and Adam.
The comedy show.
The people of
In that last one, with Sam Cedar, you look like Jeff Winger for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
Jeff Winger.
All right. I'll be back on tomorrow. Till then, appreciate you.
Yeah.
Impressive. Most impressive.
Very well done. Excellent work.
Ragnar for 50 DK dollars says, how much coffee have you had? I only drink 1 cup of coffee a day. Occasionally I will drink
I just got a message.
A 2nd cup of green tea.
Appreciate you. Love you. I'll see you next time. Later, fools.
Later, fools.